everybody, and welcome to Woodville Oval. It's round 18 in the SANFL, and today it's the Eagles at home against South Adelaide, who have taken all before them in the last 11 weeks. They've won 8 matches, including a big win last week over Norwood to put them really in the box seat to take 5th spot on the ladder. We'll know more at 5 o'clock today. Stay with us as we bring you this match live. And one fellow who'll be looking forward to seeing it is down on the boundary line. It's Mark Nayley, happy after last week's South Adelaide win, 17 points over the Redlegs.
Yes, thank you, David. And what a game it was last week. A week against Norwood at Norwood Oval. Fantastic victory by the Panthers. But as you said, the last 8 games out of 11, but they're still out of the 5. And when you come this far, you just expect to get into the 5 after some great performances, beating Norwood twice this year, and also Port Adelaide. Some great performances by the Panthers. But one bloke down here with me today is our boundary rider, Mike Parsons. The winter is back.
The winner is definitely back. A blustery northerly win for today's game here at Woodville Oval. And what an interesting game, I guess, is the best way to describe it. Because if the Eagles can't get up and get a win today, do we start writing the end of the season scenarios with then there was 6? Because really, if the Eagles can't get a win today, then, well, there, I've got 2 microphones now. You'll definitely be able to hear me. But if they can't get a win today, then definitely the season is over. Disappointing last week against Glenelg. Had a chat with Mark Micken before the game, and he really feels that they've got to get some more ball in the midfield. So, David, it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds.
Good point, that. Joining us, Ken Sheldon, former South Adelaide coach. You'd be pretty happy, Ken, at the moment, the way your old side's performing, including that great win last week over the Redlegs.
It was. It's the first time I've seen them play for a long time, and it was a terrific win at the Norwood Oval. Michael Parsons' point, Mark Micken has brought back Bailey and Pyman into this Eagles side. The last time they did win, we witnessed here when they defeated very soundly the Sturt side. Bailey and Pyman were both very prominent players that day, so some great inclusions for them, and it will certainly bolster their midfield area.
Now, Ken, you had a chance last week to have a look at South Adelaide. I'm keen to know where you think they've improved from your days there.
Oh, I think Crochet, whatever you like to say his name, has been terrific in the ruck. He's probably playing within himself with a little restricted with leg injuries, but he's giving first use of the ball to the likes of Andrew Osborne, the dynamic captain of the Panthers. Trent Mills, who's very much improved player now, having served his apprenticeship on the wing in the back pocket and now being a dominant midfielder. Matthew Badham's terrific also. I like the form of David Morgan, their recruit from the Western Australia, the Sandover medalist.
Will he play in the middle today?
I'm not sure even if he will play. I went in the South Rooms after the last week's game, and I would tend to think he might be out injured.
I think that's a fair point.
Also, I've liked Smart, the player that wears number 10, left footer, very creative on the half-forward flank, and he was used at every opportunity. He was in every avenue of South Adelaide's goals in the first half. He was terrific. So they certainly improved, I think, in their midfield, David, where they're just a use of the ball into the 50 has been very, very good.
Walk us through the ladder, Ken, because South Adelaide, if they win today, can jump into the 5 if everything works for them.
We can see Sturt on top there, and as we said, the Eagles did defeat them last outing here that we were able to watch them. Norwood, they've been terrific, but, they have been defeated twice by South, as have Port Adelaide been defeated by South. So that position there, those on 8 points, where Central, West, South and the Eagles. Whoever wins this game here today, really it's a double bonus. Whoever loses, it really is a double loss, David.
I think that's the point. If the Eagles lose today, you've got to suggest that they won't catch South, finding it very hard to overhaul West Adelaide and Central. So a big game for the Eagles today, and I suppose that's the reason we've gone for match of the round status. But now, quickly, how many wins will it take to make the finals? You think 12 or 11 this year?
I think 11. With the percentage, I think you'll get there.
So realistically, if the Eagles lose, realistically, the Eagles need to win every game to make the finals anyway. And a loss here today dashes their season completely. North and Glenelg, of course, are out. As we go to the leading goal kickers this year after round 17, Adam Richardson with 48 goals, 18, still remarkably accurate.
It is a terrific accuracy. Burton
playing his 100th game today, Burton.
White, another of the dual-pronged attack for the league leaders at this stage. Jeffries and Smart, the player we mentioned, half-forward flanker, only probably 180-odd centimetres, 5'8", 5'9", perhaps. 24 goals, 12 on a half-forward flank. And Fitzgerald, what an athlete he is, and he's just a thorn in your side. He's just a real bundle of energy, as Ryan Fitzyfield, and will be worth watching here this afternoon.
In round 8, these two sides met. It was the Eagles prevailing at Noarlunga Oval. And if history repeats itself, you've suggested they'd go into the match today pretty confident.
They do, and they have a good record here at the Woodville Oval, having having won a number of times in past years. But you would think that you would think that South, you know, look, their form's been good, but gee, if the Eagles are really, if they stand for anything today, they've got to win.
All right, fair enough. So we go down to Michael Parsons. Michael, the Eagles' performance this year, I suppose, could be best described as inconsistent. 6 wins, 9 losses, and they've lost their last 3. Their last win was round 14 against Sturt.
That's right, David. At one stage there in the season, they won 4 in a row, and there was a few murmurs and positive murmurs they were around Eagle Land down here at Woodville. But then since that time, they've lost 4 of their last 5, so the wheels have really got a bit rusty, and Mark Micken has got some work to do if they're going to, in fact, win those last 5 games and find themselves in the playoffs for this year.
Mark, was the toughest one for the Eagles, the loss last week against Glenelg, 41 points. Again, they would have anticipated winning.
I would have thought they had gone into that game anticipating the win, and maybe that's where the problem lay. They were competitive for the second and third quarters in particular. They were right at Glenelg and really outscored them in those 2 quarters. But I think they were about 8 points down at 3-quarter time, and from that time on, they just didn't get a sniff of the ball. And reiterating that point that Mark Micken made, that they just have to get their hands on the ball in the midfield.
Thanks, Michael. Well, Mark Naley caught up with Mark Micken early in the week, and he knows that the Eagles have had a very frustrating year.
Been very much an up and down year. It's certainly down more than up in recent weeks, and you know, we've addressed the issues that need to be addressed, I think, on the downside, and we've really tried to be positive this week and coming up with a fresh approach, and you know, have the players. I think when this happens, the players tend to lose a little bit of belief in themselves, and we've worked a little bit on trying to get that back. There is a good feel around the place and a real want to do well. You know, they haven't done well, but certainly the want is there, and while that's there, we're a chance. And you know, we've really done a fairly thorough preparation, and you know, Gavin Colby has been consistent for us. We've had a number of players who have been consistent, really, but you know, we've had too many that have been inconsistent, and that's what we need. You know, we're playing South Adelaide, who are very even, and that's why they've done well. You know, as opposed to us in recent weeks, we've had too many players up and down, and we've got to get some consistency from everybody. We have certainly had players there who've shown that they were capable of kicking goals, but haven't been able to be there for us every week just because of injury, and we've had to use, you know, had to improvise a little bit. But you know, we get a lot of players back now, and we're certainly not using injuries as any sort of excuse at the moment. You know, we just got to work on our game plan, get back to what we know is right, get back to the things that we recognised at the start of the year that work for us, and go with them, and you know, and understand that every player has a man, and that we're all accountable. And at the end of the day, if we all do our job, you know, we can be very competitive. But they're a very good side.
And they are a very good side. The Eagles, with Doug Bailey warming up there on screen, have a terrific warm-up facility, much the way that Centrals do, and they use it pretty well.
Yes, they are tremendous facilities. Mark Micken, the coach there in screen, and he's doing a fairly good job, I believe, David. It is his first year in coaching. Like, he's been an assistant with the Crows, and certainly has a great football pedigree, but this is his first year at the coalface, and I think he's doing an excellent job, even though over the last 7 weeks they have struggled. But now, with the likes of Bailey, Pyman coming into this side, it looks very much a different outfit.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. On Thursday night, Mark Naley caught up with Andrew Rogers, the Eagles skipper.
Well, Andrew, you're 7th on the premiership table at the moment. Just how confident are the Eagles of making that final 5?
I suppose the old cliche, Mark, is while it's mathematically possible, we'll continue to keep going. Certainly made it very hard for ourselves. We've still got some hard games, Port at Albion and Nord at Nord. We can certainly only concentrate on one game at a time, and after last week's disappointing loss, all we can look forward to is South here at Woodville Oval.
Well, you played plenty of footy, bit of AFL, also a lot of SANFL. One of the coolest and most calmest players playing on the half-back line in this competition. How can you see the Eagles improving?
I think it basically got down to a bit the same as Glenelg last week. We just need a great deal of confidence. You know, we beat Sturt here, you know, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we were a very confident side that day. I think that's what we need to really improve on, is really play with a passion, really get after the footy and look after each other and enjoy playing with each other.
Well, you beat South last time you played them down in London. I think it was around by about 27 points, so a reasonable margin there. Do you reckon you can do it again?
Well, I can't see any reason why not. They've certainly improved as a side as the season's gone on. They've got to come to our home ground, our home deck. We're certainly smarting after a bad loss last week, and we'll certainly give them something to think about.
Well, the Eagles this year, I mean, they have been up and down. Their last game, or last win, was against Sturt here at home. Home ground, does that make a bit of an advantage to you?
Oh, I think so. I think not so much the ground. I think it's more your environment that you're used to. Like we're used to getting changed in the change rooms. We're used to driving to training here, etc. South have got to drive a long way. They're out of their home environment. I think it's an advantage to us in that way, yes.
Well, you're captain of the club. You're 33 years of age. How much longer can the Eagles supporters see Andrew Rogers on Woodville Oval?
Oh, that's just a year-by-year proposition, Mark. As long as I keep enjoying it and I play to a standard which I've probably set myself, if I fall below that standard, well then I think it's time to give it away, and I think I'll give it away when that day comes.
Well, I wish you all the best today.
Thanks, Mark.
Well done, Mark Naley. Thanks to Andrew Rogers, who I think Ken might be able to play for another couple of seasons, given his form this year has been pretty good.
Yes, it has been good, and the last win they had, he was very much in the top 3 or 4 players on the ground. It was, in fact, Andrew Payes' 300th game that day when they did defeat Sturt here at the Woodville Oval. Bailey in the side, as we mentioned, at centre-half back. Pelfreyman will need to really play well in that centre line with Andrew Payes, and the forward line, Michael, looks to be fairly balanced there.
It does. Robert Fineman coming back in will add a little bit of zip around the forward line. And Kluzek, he really has to start kicking some goals to make the Eagles a force. But I think it's going to be critical that Big Wiggins stands up against the guys from South to give Pesh, who's been in great form, first chance of the ball. And Doug Bailey, he's got a really big job today on young Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald's such a great athlete. And Doug Bailey, he's an honest plotter. He's got a big body, but I think he's got his work cut out being able to compete with Fitzgerald in the air today, fellas.
Not a bad centre line for the Eagles. Andrew Payes, who's had AFL experience with the Crows. Pelfreyman with Brisbane.
Yes.
And
a little with Richmond from Sandy Bay.
Yeah, and Sandy Bay, and Chadwin Toole with the Crows. So they've virtually got a very experienced AFL midfield.
And as was mentioned, the great form of Nick Pesh and, of course, Zilla, who'll wear number 8. You're watching, viewers on screen, a brilliant rover.
All right, Ken, what about South Adelaide? Their form has been unbelievable, but perhaps we might even put Mark Naley on the spot. South Adelaide's form, Mark, are they good enough to hold a place in the 5 and then do some damage once they get there?
Well, Dave, I said at the start of the show there, I mean, they won the last 8 out of 11. They've beaten Port twice this year, beaten Norwood twice this year, and also Centrals as well they've beaten this year. So that's the top 3 sides up there in the 5. I mean, they should be up there with the amount of wins they've had. Okay, they've lost their first 4 games of the year, but really, I mean, their turnaround has just been absolutely sensational, and they're very, very keen. I mean, they're playing with plenty of passion and plenty of heart, and Ken Applegarth has got them just finely tuned at the moment.
Fair enough. Well, on Thursday night, Mark Naley also caught up with Ken Applegarth, who's pleased with his team's recent performance.
I just think that their attitude towards the whole year. They started back in the 3rd of October, Mark, with a determined effort to improve, and now that we've won some games against good opposition, good quality opposition, the belief and the confidence has just come through, and the guys are just working so hard for it. We're even coming to another level in our training. The guys are just searching for improvement every week, and they're just wanting to learn. They're so coachable. It's a fantastic feeling here at the moment. Everybody's just wanting to improve. You can take Trent Mills, for instance. He's just gone to another level in his football, and to play state football was a fantastic effort. It was an absolute instruction to the team that if we were going to close Norwood down, it had to be the tackling. You're spot on there, Mark, and I thought that was their best effort since I've been in charge. Their tackling was so ferocious that it spilled the ball over. It didn't allow their runners to run free and give and finish, so it was absolutely fabulous. As I've said to the guys, it'd be an absolute tragedy now if they can't win enough games to get into the 5 and have a crack at a finals chance, but no, they've been absolutely fantastic, and the way they're going at the moment, there's no reason why they can't get in there. We won't take anybody lightly at all, Mark, and the Eagles they've beaten us early in the early round, and we've got to get that one back, and down there is going to be twice as hard, and also they've come off a very poor performance against Glenelgan, so I think they've lost 6 of their last 7, so what would you expect? Nothing, a big performance from the Eagles.
And the Panthers warming up, Ken. They look intense, don't they? They just look like they're focused and right on the job.
Confidence is a wonderful thing, David, and it's just a tremendous feeling down there, as the coach, Ken Applegarth, has mentioned.
Simon Crawshay, big bonus for them. Dean Talbot there on screen, and you can just see the players just working through the warm-up situation. On Thursday night, Mark Naley also caught up with South Adelaide vice-captain Trent Mills.
Well, Trent, you started your football in the back pocket where most players retire. This year on the ball, how are you enjoying it?
It's been a change, I guess, isn't it, from the back pocket? It's been very enjoyable to get into the midfield and get around the ball a bit, so it's been good.
Well, state game this year, you came on after half-time, you kicked a few goals. How good a feeling was that for you?
Yeah, it was fantastic. To get a run, to get a game in the state game for a start was fantastic. And then to come on and do reasonably well was even better. Yeah, it was great.
on South this year. A bit of a change in form. I mean, they're winning a few games over the last sort of 8 or 9 weeks. How important is this year to play the finals as you come this far?
Yeah, well, I guess when we first started off this year, we were just looking to improve, hopefully get some respect back into the club. But now that we've come this far, it's probably very important that we now continue on and play finals.
Well, the Eagles last week, they got beaten by the Bays, the bottom side. How have you prepared this week?
We haven't done anything different. We are certainly aware that they are going to come out and probably try on a rebound from after being beaten by Glenelg. So we're just going to prepare the same way and hopefully get the points.
Well, the final question, I'm sure most South Adelaide supporters want to know. Your form's been fantastic this year. Any talent scouts from over the border chasing you?
No, not that I know. Now I'm 25. I'm probably a little bit old for that now. So no, I haven't had any contact from anyone.
All the best today.
Thank you very much.
Well, comment on that, Ken Sheldon. At 25, is he draftable?
I very much believe that he is, David. Turn it on. He's very much a draftable player, I believe.
Fair enough. Sorry, Ken, we've just lost you a moment as we go down to Mark Nayley. South Adelaide with Genovese, Battams and Webb in the midfield. We've already talked, Mark, about the Eagles midfield, but this will be a big and important day for the South Adelaide centre line.
Yes, you spoke about Genovese there. I mean, I had a quiet lemon squash, which is, would surprise you, David, with him after training on Thursday night. And he's a very relaxed and very positive sort of person. I mean, he just had that feeling inside, which he was trying to explain to me, just how much he loves playing the game. But he was sensational last week. He played in the half-back line, took some telling marks back there, and just totally committed. But I mean, South at the moment, there's no real star players in there. I mean, Osborne, you'd have to say, would be by far their best player this year, along with Mills and Crawshay. But it's just, Smart last week was a sensational touch. Norman, who went off early last week with that sore leg, it's good to see him still lining up there today. And one of their very experienced players in Quinn, but they're getting back Perret. And also this week on that back line, I mean, he is just going to be a bonus. He's tall, he's able to take a good mark and able to leap tall buildings as well, they tell me.
Yes, he can. The rucks of Crawshay, Mills and Osborne. Andrew Osborne in great form, I think averaging somewhere in the 27 possessions a match. His form's been outstanding, but that's a pretty tidy ruck-rover setup.
Yes, definitely. I mean, we look on the interchange bench there as well with Fernie. I mean, he's experienced, maybe not experienced, he's still very young, but he's an Adelaide Crows listed player. Also young Benny Pyman and young Bevan, who comes in. He's been up and down this year, but he's back into the side again today. I mean, he's also had plenty of experience as well. But I mean, South at the moment just going along nicely. But the big key is that they're playing with plenty of intensity and plenty of drive, and it is coming from Osborne.
And plenty of confidence of South Adelaide now out on the field, so too are the Eagles. And Robert Pyman, Ken Sheldon, a real key after experience with Melbourne and Collingwood and North Melbourne.
Yes, and did reasonably well too over there. Suffered a lot of leg injuries, and you can see the time that he spent in the gym by the look of those biceps and triceps there on his arm, glistening with the oil. But he is a player that, he kicked 5 goals, 6 goals in fact, it might have been against Sturt here in their last victory, out of a forward pocket, and I would think might be used more in the midfield here today.
Luke Norman, number 6 for South Adelaide, with a very heavy leg injury last week. We thought that he'd take no further part in the game, but he showed great courage to come back on and play a pretty important role in South Adelaide's win.
Yes, a kick to the calf it was. It made very much like a corky, but in his second year here, having now crossed from Melbourne, settling in and starting to take one of the leadership roles at the club on field, and certainly can play the game. The best of him we have yet to see, so something to look forward to.
So Andrews tossed the coin. Andrew Osborne for South Adelaide wins. Now there is a strong breeze. We might just take this opportunity to cross back down to Michael Parsons. Michael, the breeze down there seems to be very, very strong.
It is blowing out of the north, so favouring that goal on the right-hand side of the screen, David. It's blustery, and just looking over to where the weather's coming from, I wouldn't be surprised to see it pick up as the day goes on. I think there is a bit of a storm forecast later in the day, and matter of fact, being the boatie that I am, I heard a gale warning out for later on this afternoon, so we'd expect this breeze to stay with us throughout the day.
So you're suggesting it's a 5 or 6 goal breeze, Michael?
David, you're going to have to explain one day what a 5-goal breeze means, but on everybody else that describes a 5-goal breeze, this would definitely be a 5-goal breeze.
Well, you voties talking knots, us footy people talking goals. So get out in the golf, I say this is a 5-goal breeze that the shot's sitting on, and you people talking funny lingo. Now there's Gavin Colville, Ken. We talk about players with some AFL ability. Well, he's only 22, 64 games now under his belt. He plays with some great intensity, but he's been overlooked in the last 3 drafts.
Yes, size is perhaps one of the key features there, but again, as a young player of his experience now, 64 games, if he can finish the season off very, very well, not only will perhaps the Eagles make the finals, but he will also find himself being perhaps looked at once again, and perhaps to the positive.
Gary Haylock just walks across the front to Ian Perry, number 21 for South Adelaide. Now, Ken, you've had a chance of having a look at him. He looks very strong and very tough, and he's still only 19.
It's great, isn't it, to see young men like that take the game on in the manner that he does, and only be 19 years of age. So, you know, there's obviously a lot of football left in that man.
Mark Nayley rejoins us up from the boundary line. Mark, a big day for South Adelaide, an important one.
Yes, definitely. I mean, they're playing for that 5th position, Dave, and they just have to consolidate now. I mean, they just have to keep winning games if they want to play finals football, which I'm sure most of them do out there. They just, you know, today's game, Eagles haven't been in great form, and they are very beatable this afternoon. But do you know Eagles at home, David? You know, you are an Eagle man. They do. I mean, they're a 2 or 3 a goal better side.
They play a different brand. We might get Michael Parsons to have a look at the interchange benches for us and come up with the right numbers there. Jeff Wiggins on screen, just a tough big man, heads the competition in ruckouts, supported today by Doug Bailey. A good combination, and it will be very difficult for South Adelaide to get over the top of that. Or Crochet is doing pretty well. Now, fellas, question. Clay Sampson has gone up to the Crows, we believe, and David Morgan, unfit today, would certainly have some impact on their side.
Yes, it will. Genovese will come into the midfield and probably take up, well, he is in fact lining up on Zilla, who is probably the Eagles' most productive midfielder.
The umpires
number 3 on number 8, David.
Ron Bettridge, Troy Burton and Colin Rouston to take up the call. It's Mark Nayley.
Thank you, David. The first bounce of the afternoon. Woodville Oval, bit of sunshine is just appearing from the clouds as Eagles get first hand on the ball. They need to start with plenty of enthusiasm today, Ken. They get the first free kick. Eagles last week beaten by the bottom side. Well, Southkins up with it. It's Genovese wearing a long sleeve jumper this afternoon, so he'll be fairly easy to pick up. Genovese goes long. The ball's carried a good 60 metres. Good movement out front by Hames. Comes back to Battams. He kicks over his body. Rogers can't quite get back quickly enough to get hold of it. The ball is high again. In there was Fitzgerald. Down to Osborne. His first shot at goals for the afternoon. Couldn't quite control the kick and brings up a behind. So South, first score. And played not only a minute this first quarter.
Osborne starting off as obviously the club's #1 rover, running forward to the crumb of those packs. And of course, he's just got a great ability to win possession after possession.
Ball's wide. Fitzgerald out in front, puts his hands up, nearly took the mark. South again at the foot of the pack. The umpire will come in and ball it up. That was young Webb. So South kicking with a breeze, David. I know you'd love to hear this. I reckon it would have to be at least 5 goals. I think South at quarter time would have to be 5 goals up.
Well, if you're a South fan, you'd certainly like to think so. And if you're an Eagle fan, you'd be hoping that the Eagles can hold sway. Perhaps this new tactic, or perhaps it's not so new, of flooding the back line. Hate it being called the defence. So the back line for the Eagles will need to hold up. Crashing through, Chad Rentoul, taken, goes to ground. The tackle was Fitzgerald. He's big, but not so strong yet. Have a look at the size of him. Tall and skinny. When he fills out, Ken, he'll be a real danger.
No doubt about that. And we talked about his vertical jump last week. You know, he's something special.
Johnson thumps it down. Battams was underneath it. Rentoul, sorry, Ken.
I was just wondering, where have I heard that before?
Yes, well, it does happen, doesn't it? Gets into the lingo and has an impact. Opportunity for Kluzek to go towards full forward at the back of the pack. Oh, Osborne, he's roving beautifully this year. That one was just something out of the box, wasn't it? Ran through on the left and gets South Adelaide's first.
He is a classic player, Andrew Osborne, one which is just delightful to watch. And people come along and really can learn how to play the game as a rover if you're just watching this kid play. He's progressed now to be captain of the South Adelaide Football Club. He was, in fact, drafted by Geelong a number of years back, I think the 1994 season, and then, in fact, was given a first crack at the Port Adelaide side, but on both occasions was crippled by back fractures, actually, stress fractures of the back, and just couldn't sustain the training level.
So 3 minutes in, South Adelaide got their first goal. They're 1-1-7. They lead the Eagles yet to score. Good bounce by the umpire. Wiggins got his hand on the ball. It's come out to Pesh, couldn't control it. Umpire indicates a little bit high on Pesh, and he'll take the first free kick. So Pesh, in the middle of the ground, looks up forward, got a little bit of movement, goes wide towards Wiggins in front. was Crawshay. Webb's there also. Ball comes out to Palm and quickly onto his boot. Looking for Colville up forward, but a good mark intercepted by number 25 in Cobb.
You like him, Ken, don't you?
I do like Cobb for the same reasons I like Mills and this fellow here, Badhams. They just give you everything they've got.
Badhams has time for a couple of bounces, delivers it beautifully to Fitzgerald, who ran down from deep in the forward line and takes it just inside the 50-metre square. Forward of centre now, very few options, but with the breeze, well, Hams was ignored. Now a long bomb deep towards Johnson. The big target was up and down before the ball even got there, and finally thumped across the line and out of play. And there is Andrew Pays. And the last time the Eagles won here was his 300th game against Sturt. It's been a bit of a drought since.
It's a similar situation too, where they kicked against the wind, and Pays actually was, I think, almost kickless in the first quarter, but then come to be a very dominant force.
Ball's down to Osborne again for his third shot. Gets a quick hands across. That's smart. He's got the ball high. The goal umpire hits his chest. Indicates it's just gone across the face of goals, and the first score was Smart after a great game last weekend.
Yes, he was tremendous last week. He kicked 4 goals on the half-forward flank, running laterally and offside, and it was players like Osborne and Mills that were able to use him so effectively.
The Eagles, through Hodgson, bring it out. Rogers couldn't take it, but underneath it was Jeff Wiggins, who's rucked so wonderfully well for the Eagles this year. Really stamped himself as a quality big man in this competition. Goes towards Pesh. Now working hard over the top of the ball, but getting dispossessed was Hutchins. It falls short. Driving it along with Scotty Webb deep to the square. Big fly was up. Fitzgerald couldn't bring it down. And Brett Leal across the line with the ball.
Well, a vision of that clearly showed the athleticism we talked about of this fellow Fitzgerald. Ryan Fitzgerald in screen there. Like, he's vertical. Just the way that he can get in the air is it's unbelievable.
The last time you were with us, Ken, we were down here. We saw Sturt versus the Eagles. The block at centre half forward for the Eagles. Brett Burton had an absolute field day in the air, so it's going to be a great contest. As we see Mills go around his body. Another behind for the Panthers. But Brett Burton, the centre half forward for the Eagles, just as good a talent.
Yes, no doubt, exciting youngster. But the structure then, that was terrific then to see Mills floating off the back of the pack there for the Panthers, and Johnson was able to strongly get the left-handed handball out to him. Millsy, I think, scratch here, he'd like to have that one again, because I think that could have been a goal for him.
Accuracy is a bit of a problem, particularly with this breeze. This kick is floating horribly close to the line. Wiggins just thumps it down, feeds back the handball short. Now the Eagles are able to charge it forward. Zilla finishes up with the ball. He got it in the finish from Hodgson, and now look at this. They're running freely in the midfield and doing it pretty well, if you don't mind. Pyman got the ball in the finish from Higgins, and at left half forward, holds the ball up and just waits for a target. Comes back inboard, called to play on. Crawshay almost got him on the smother. It's 2-on-1 deep in defence. That's not a possession ball for the Eagles. Webb is good enough. Handballs it forward. Target was Osborne. Mills collects it. Pulled off the ball. Getting it away was Cobb. Now, number 9 is Talbot. A long bomb. Fitzgerald underneath it. Bailey's got the job on him. Did it pretty well. And again, it's Hodgson who just relieves a little bit of pressure for the Eagles.
Pressure's the key word at the moment. The Panthers are applying it. Another possession to Osborne. Back to Pays. He's tackled from behind by, looked like Badhams, or it could have been Webb. Ball's kicked up forward. Not covering a great deal of ground as the ball when you're going to the left of screen. Genovese, this time over to Webb. Webb needs support onto his left leg. He drives it long and strong up forward. The back there is Fitzgerald. Going up forward was Hams. Couldn't take the mark. Rogers is there for the Eagles. The ball's kicked out quickly across the Rintle. He should be able to clean this up. Crawshay's on his hammer. Crawshay applies enough pressure to force the error, and Rintle kicks the ball out of bounds on the forward.
Gee, you really got to attack the football, and Rintoul looked like he's going at about 20% of his capacity then, so really he copped what he deserved.
Crawshay wins the free, goes over and collects the ball and says, I'll have a shot for goal. Now, what's his kicking prowess, Ken? You've seen a bit of him.
Well, he does suffer from hamstrings, but I think with this breeze, he's just got to put it to the front of the square. The wind may bring it back, I think, from left to right of screen. I think he's capable possibly of kicking this. But I could be wrong.
I'm waiting for Mark Nailey's comment. He hates ruckman.
Over 6 foot.
When you look back at that on replay, not that we'll see that, but he did walk way too close to the man on the mark, and he was just never confident with it at all, was he?
I suppose confidence is half the key, but as you say, he only had to put it up. Johnson took front position in the pack, almost completed it. Rintoul this time tries to handball into space. Osborne sits after it. Oh, Rintoul was good, just created the contest.
It's enforced it to the boundary, which you need to do in these conditions when kicking against a strong wind. It's a neutral situation here, and they've just got to keep pushing it along the boundary line until they can create an opportunity to go into the inside 50.
Crawshay front position, Wiggins in the middle, won the tap, just brought it straight to ground, and players dive on top of it. Darren Holland, 25 for the Eagles, forces it to ground and holds it in the area.
And we mentioned with the absence of Sampson going up into the Crows side and Morgan out of the side, Genovese has come into the midfield. He has in fact picked up Nick Pesh, the dominant ruck rover for the Eagles, and it is Zilla playing on Osborne. So perhaps Mark Micken could consider a tag on Osborne while they're kicking with this strong breeze. I say that in it. Osborne is the generator. He's the fellow that ignites the South Adelaide machine.
So bounce on the half-forward line. For South Adelaide, the ball comes out. Genovese is in there. Long sleeve jumper. Mills is there as well. Gets the ball onto his boot quickly. A chance here for Smart. Just needs to find a bit of space. He does that. It's around his body. I think he's got his first goal for the afternoon. He has. Young Nathan Smart. And boy, he's excited.
He's going on with what he finished off last week. The first 10 minutes of the game, he has in fact had 2 shots for goal. The majority of the play, except one foray, has all been in the forward half of the Panthers. So 5 shots, 2 goals, 3. It's a good effective ratio at this stage. The scoreboard, I think, reflecting the dominance that they have on that game.
Nice pick up from Norwood Smart. He's been a very important recruit for them. Crawshay and Wiggins. It was Wiggins who just got the fingertips to it over the top of it. Fighting hard for the Eagles was James McClure. Finally it comes out, a loose ball to half forward. Perry took front position. Zilla roved it beautifully. The kick was smothered. It comes out now to Quinn, who is manhandled, taken off the ball. And the Eagles are working pretty tough. Higgins to Pesh, to space. Perry over the top of it. Mills just strongly back in defence, did just enough.
Well, he kept his body over the line of the ball and he just pushed through the gap and kept his balance, and you know, it looked good. It was good.
Crawshay, front position up against Wiggins, brings it to the ground. Again, there's Osborne at the front of the pack. Gets his kick beautifully cleaned up. The ball will go back forward. Coming out as Cobb. He takes it out in front of Kluzek. Long handball over the top, finds Webb. Webb onto his right boot. Can see Johnson clear. He goes that way in front of Rogers, the captain for the Eagles. So Johnson has got players out wide, and Battens, he goes that direction. What will Battens do? Gets back quickly off the mark. Needs to give his forwards a bit of a chance to be able to jump at it. Fitzgerald gives the lead out wide. Chance here for Fitzgerald. He just needs to jump. He's pushed in the back. There had to be a free kick. The umpire calls play on. Mills has covered some ground. Again, he brings the ball back in the top of the square. It's all Eagles players, and they should clear.
It's Mills and Osborne definitely on top of the Eagles midfield. Genovese also had a number of possessions at this early stage of the game.
Brett Leal for the Eagles drives it to the outer side, clears the 50-metre line. Wiggins had the ball thumped away from him. Fireman finishes up with the ball, got the handball from Pesh, comes back in the midfield. Burton, big fly. He's an exciting machine, but I'm not sure that he's quite big enough yet for centre half forward, but that's the task that Mark Micken's given him today.
It's difficult when you're a jumper like that. Like, he really only jumped probably 50% capacity then, and in the end, the ball swirling around in the air, Quinn was able to get his hand to the ball at the same time as him. Really, if it was on a still day there and he was full of confidence, he would have taken that 3 foot above Quinn.
And Wiggins pulled off it by Quinn. Genovese applies the tackle on McClure. Dead heat that one. The umpire indicates another bounce. I was just having a look. Brett Burton is 183 centimetres. Now, what's that, 6 foot in the old lingo, but with a great jump. Great tap down to Osborne. Mark Nailey liked that one. Osborne roving it superbly on the fly. Now crashing out. This is Leal coming away with the ball. Or was it Holland? It was Holland. Towards Colville, grandstand wing. Oh, the ball needs to sit. It didn't sit. Norman over the top of him. Just steamrolled him. Norman did very, very well. 2-on-1. Coming at it again as Holland working hard, but wasn't Norman terrific? His second effort, outstanding.
Yes, and it's also that of Darren Holland, his second effort, and it's the third special thing that he's done in the last few minutes, attacking off half-back.
Members grandstand wing, the ball's high. Crawshay again. just trying to guide the ball down. Some good work there. Couldn't quite be finished off as a handball nearly couldn't quite find Rogers. The Eagles at it again. And again, the ball will be held up by Genovese. The umpire will come in and ball it up. So a good start by both sides. Perfect conditions here. Lovely day at Woodville Oval. 2-3-15.
You're in the comedy.
Eagles yet to score. Fitzgerald gives the contest. He's up there with Big Doug Bailey. A chance here for the Panthers. They've got the numbers. Webb's there with Osborne. Good handball back to Webb. Just needs to set it up. The kick's not controlled. Gives Smart a chance to take a grab at it. Coming out again, looks like Hams. Tries the handball. Good tackle, ends up with Bailey.
Wiggins dropped it. Comes back inboard. Hodgson gave him some support to shoot at Palfreyman over the top.
And how often do we see that in football where one mistake is followed up by another? Wiggins made the error, he fumbled, then the handball wasn't quite there, and then of course it's forced with another error, and eventually South Adelaide able to box it up.
Crawshay from behind thumps it down. Palfreyman over the top, tripped on his own player, goes to ground, finally gets it out. The umpires courageously have let that go. Genovese now, Norman, Johnson, Adams at the back door. They're working out with quick hands, the Panthers, but the kick was Australian. Rintoul plucks it off. It was misdirected, I think, that kick. It was heading in the direction of Pays, but fortunately Higgins had front position and cleans it up. Now it's out to Pays, who's running. Some concern about whether he'll play next year. I think he's good enough to go, and his form warrants another season, no doubt about that. Zilla, outer wing. Marks it strongly. This is the man that the Eagles need firing at his best. He is their motivator. Gets them firing. Burton marked and played on the right boot. A goal here would be so important for the Eagles. Talbot at the back door goes defensively to the line. Pyman with him, but clever work, Kluzek. Pyman goes for the check side. It's coming around. Oh, he's hit the post. That would have been an important goal.
And wasn't it brilliant work by Kluzek? He's just got something extraordinary, hasn't he, Kluzek, at times? Like, he has kicked 5 and 6 goals in an AFL game of football, and he's playing full forward here today. But to knock that ball inboard was very smart.
Yes, another game being played around the state today. We see West Adelaide North. West lead by 11 points early in the first quarter. Ball's kicked down. Number 3 was Bailey. Couldn't quite keep his feet. Genovese cleans it up to Fitzgerald. Goes back to Osborne. Got the pace to be able to get away. He's just tackled as he kicks it. Puts it out in front. There's no one up forward for South Adelaide. The Eagles should be able to clean it up. Number 29 comes across to Hodgson. Just prepared to run the ball up. Finds his captain in Rogers. Maybe taking it. He kicks it. He is. Just force the error. Genovese will get there also with Bailey. Bailey gets his boot to ball and goes wide. This is Colville. Just looks forward, tries to set up to Kluzak. He's got 10-15 metres on his opponent. Good work there by number 24 for the Panthers and Chloe Hesse. Again, they will clean up. Ball comes wide to Mills. Got time now to set it up. Player out wide and Osborne covering a great deal of ground here. Lead up by Hams. Will he make the distance? I think he might be able to get there. The Eagles player falls over and behind. That was Fruin. And again, we see the Eagles cleaning up.
Rintoul has time for a bouncing go over the top to Higgins. It's a nicely weighted kick. It'll sit there beautifully. Oh, well, from behind came Wiggins. So Wiggins and Higgins collide, and Higgins has come off second best. Rogers through the midfield, streams and flies it downfield. Great mark, Kluzek. He is a clever player, Ken.
There's no doubt about that. And this will be a very difficult goal to kick. He'll have to kick it from 40 metres into a stiff breeze. And I dare say that Ian Perry might even touch it before it goes through.
Well, 40-metre kick here with this breeze is a difficult one for any player.
I might add, though, David, and you might be able to see this on screen as you're looking, there is the Eagles' licensed premise directly behind this, and it will shelter the ball if it is kept low.
All right, let's see if Kluzak can keep it low. He goes back, gives himself a little bit of space, just lobs it inside the line. A beautifully weighted kick. Didn't try to do too much with it or put it up into the breeze. Kept it low, as Ken Sheldon suggested. That is good football savvy.
That's home ground smarts, as Andrew Osborne alerted to. Andrew Rogers, I get it right third time. Alerted to the Eagles' home ground. Their knowledge of their home dunghill really paying dividends there.
Back in the middle of the ground, we see Matthew Kluzak gets his first goal for the afternoon. Now, the Eagles have hit back. They're 1-goal, 1-7. South Adelaide at 2 goals, 3-15. The ball's bounced. Big Wiggins up against Crawshay. Wiggins gets his hand on the ball, just timed a little bit better. In there again is Pesh with Quinn and also Crawshay. Comes back to Pyman. He's over the top, only as far as Talbot. Left leg, it's on its way. Looking for a grab up forward. The Panthers high on the play, on the forward player in Hams. Umpire once again calls play on. So a chance here for Colville. Just out in front of Webb. Needs the runner in support. Didn't have anybody to give the handball to. Webb cleans it up. Goes long at the back there. Fitzgerald's got the sit and takes the mark.
It's bad error by Colville, a shocker in fact, and the result is a long kick into the forward line from Webb. Fitzgerald drifting back, creating space between his opponent and the goal, and now will, well, kick the easiest of
Kick
goals.
this ball in the Lunga. This breeze down here. So Fitzgerald, 6.5 metres out, puts it on its way, just controlled it beautifully. That's his first goal for the afternoon. The Panthers hit back.
I'm not sure I like this new nice Mark Nailey.
Get used to it.
You can see here the mistake by Colville, 1-2, and there's just too many numbers from the Panthers. So good football, they're there in numbers, which is what you want as a coach. It gives your team confidence. Eventually it gives you weight of possession, and Webb, who is very deadly with his left foot, he is an excellent kick, found Fitzgerald.
Enjoying the space on the wing too is Webb. In other matches around town this afternoon, West Adelaide and North Adelaide. It's North by a point. Close one there, and Sturt by 3 goals over Glenelg. An important match for the Double Blues as they consolidate at the top of the ladder. And a free kick to Rintoul, and he enjoys a challenge. Quinn just got him on the run through, and Chad enjoyed that one. Burton, clever, very clever. That's a mark, the umpire said. Well, what about that? That's a ripper. A very clever mark in a very strong breeze. Pushes it up to the square. Kluzek, big fly. Pyman at the back. Sockers it forward. Gets a point, and it's an important point.
His second point off the boot of Pyman. The first one hitting the post. We might be able to see that catch on replay.
No, not a mark, that one. We'd have to delete that from the highlight.
Anyway, that's football.
Well, the umpire was caught behind, to be fair to him.
Football. Now, Scott Webb, the player that kicked the ball to Fitzgerald for South's last goal, now kicking in.
The ball's gone up to the middle of the ground. Really is wind assisted here.
Webb, I think, very much the designated kicker. Kick in for South Adelaide, Mark.
Yeah, we see Hams there on the bench, just having a bit of a spell with Bevan. And also Fernie. There's a chance here for Colville. Around his body, he's pushed it towards the boundary line. It's a foot race on. 24's Chloe Essie. Couldn't quite get in front. Back to Pesh. Ducks and weaves across to Zilla. Just needs to go over the top. He goes that direction and finds Pays. It's not Pays. It's going high again. To the back is Kluzek. Then he pulls down an actually spectacular mark. Couldn't quite get there. Pyman back to Kluzek. He's got a chance here to kick his second, and he's done that, I believe. As a smile goes on David Mackay's face. It's another goal to Kluzak. That's his second.
And what an important goal it is to bring them within 7 points, kicking against a strong breeze toward the end of this first quarter. The player you mentioned, Pays, is starting on the back of the square and just creating the link, the rollover player, and just creating a bit of space. And of course the Eagles are good enough to utilise his experience on every occasion possible.
Now it's Higgins around the corner. Genovese strongly towards the line. That was a strong punch, and it just resets the South Adelaide defence, Ken.
Yes, good play. It's what you need in difficult situation. You need to play the defensive ethic, and that was a tremendous spoil to the safety of the boundary. Now a neutral situation is created.
Wiggins thumps it down. Quinn, left footer, into space, allows the runners. Rintoul showed great courage, kept going at it. Smart with pace, just caught off balance. Couldn't quite contain it, it's Closey. Now Bailey. Thread goal couldn't get it for South Adelaide either. Johnson applies the tackle. Now Norman, he's a strong player. I like the way he goes about it, this young fella. A long bomb towards the full forward line. Smart's looking for the ball, searching for it. Leal thumps it towards the line with the left boot and finds the line beautifully.
It's well done, Brett Leal, playing on Smart. Chasing the safety of the boundary yet again, and it just stops proceedings. Now it's a neutral situation. You line up on your opponent, you've got a 50-50 deal.
So Osborne up for his second for the afternoon. He's put it on its way. Andrew Osborne, number 7 for the Panthers, kicks his second for the afternoon.
And what a classic goal that was. The throw-in took place. Down it come to Genovese. Look at this. Up is the classic tap. Genovese. Special there, terrific balance to Osborne, running in numbers, balanced on his natural left foot. That is just, well, a training drill. That's a great goal.
Two South Adelaide fans out in voice. The goal umpire liked it. Andrew Osborne gets his second. He's got 2 goals, won the skipper, leading from the front today, no question about that. And we've got a 13-point ball game, 24.5 minutes into the first term. The Eagles have done well considering the strength of the breeze, but South Adelaide have looked like they are here to work hard. Wolfram dragged off the ball by Quinn. Free kicks at the umpire. Hasn't played a lot of football this year for the Eagles. This is his 7th game. We're round 18. Pays, forces it wide. Burton just inside the line, couldn't quite contain it. He is an athletic type. He must come down to the footy, and that's what I think is worthwhile at these matches. Plenty of space for the kids and dads. Unlike most of the AFL games these days where you're cramped in like a sardine. Pays, gets Quinn. Claims him high. No, said the umpire, it's a ball up.
Ball bounced, half-forward line for the Eagles. Another good bounce by the umpire. Perry couldn't quite get there. Quinn throws his weight around. Time for Clohessy to get the ball back to Cobb. Now, which way will Cobb go? He goes back to Quinn. Quinn needs to get around his players. He does that, puts it high into the air. Genovese will jump at this from behind. It's a big fly by Genovese. Couldn't take it. Crawshay's there. Eagles again will surge forward. Back there is Talbot. Should take this mark. But coming in front, reading it well, is Pyman. So Robert Pyman, chance here to bring up the Eagles' 3rd goal for the afternoon. Just keep it in touch. Good quarter football, Dave Mackay, by the Eagles. Kicking into a very strong breeze.
I've got to say that if he puts this one through, morally, they've won the quarter. I mean, on the scoreboard, South will clearly show ascendancy, but this is a good first quarter by the Eagles.
Robert Pyman just takes a little bit of a stutter as he walks in, puts it on its way. We'll wait for the umpire. The flags are waving behind the goals. The umpire puts up his 2 fingers, and that's his first. So the Eagles 3-2 now trail South Adelaide 4-3.
See there, tremendous aerial work, Robert Pyman, and he is a beautiful finisher. Forming a 3-pronged attack up there with Burton at centre-half forward and Kluzek at full forward, and the 3 players have had an influence, although their respective defenders are playing well also.
5 scoring shots for the Eagles into this very strong breeze at Woodville Oval. South Adelaide 7. And that's a fine performance by the Eagles. 7 points down as they go into quarter time. And there's still just seconds left in this match. South Adelaide need another goal. Crawshay thumps it down. And no contest, said the umpire. Holland caught with the ball. Another bounce by umpire Burton. Look at the players milling around that ball. There would be at least 20 players, perhaps more. Wiggins, cleverly done. Forces it out wide. And Norman, who I like, every time I see this fellow, he gives his all. He's tough and courageous. Plays good old-fashioned hard-at-it football. A long one. Big fly was up. Hams couldn't bring it down. Pays the crumb. Comes back inside. Just caught Smart off balance. Delivers it long and low. Perhaps that breeze is not as strong as we think it is. Clohessy forces it down. Johnson on the left boot drives it back. And a good mark taken deep in defence by Brent Fruin.
So Fruin just looking to keep possession. Couldn't find his target. A chance here for the boys in the blue jumper. Osborne's there. Throws the ball forward. Fred Gold will clean it up. He's taken from behind. Coming across him was 21, was Palfreyman. And again we see the pack form. The umpire will run in and throw it up. So a chance here for the Panthers. Can only be seconds left in this game. It's inside 50. Johnson will take the ruck up against Bailey. Ball comes to ground. We hear the quarter-time siren here at Woodville Oval, and the Panthers they lead by 7 points. Is that enough?
I don't think it is at this stage. I would be a bit disappointed with that, I think, as a Panther outfit. I think the Eagles had more of the football in that quarter. They certainly were very effective with Pyman and Kluzek in particular up forward. Their midfield, I think, needs a lift through Pesh. I think Genovese is doing a wonderful job on him, and Osborne is clearly the best man on the ground. The Panthers, to me, have been certainly inside 50 more than the Eagles, but so they should be with their strong breeze. And to only lead by 7 points at quarter time, I think, well, it's full credit to the Eagles. I think the Eagles' best players, I think they've certainly, well, I liked Holland at half-back. I thought he was pretty good. Bailey and Fitzgerald are having a terrific duel, as are in the forward line. Kluzek and Cobb are having a magnificent duel at full forward, full back. Pyman has been good, Burton has been good, and Ziller, of course, whilst for the Panthers it's Osborne, Genovese, Mills and Clohessy, along with Fitzgerald.
As Mark Micken gets to his players here at Woodville Oval, the Eagles at quarter time, they're 3 goals, 2-20. They trail South Adelaide, they're 4 goals, 3-27. And you're watching it live and exclusive to ABC Sport.
So you think you're going to take my money again? Is that what you're thinking?
Last week against the Bays.
He
the
did
Bays
too,
getting up over the Eagles.
Well, we've got an old Panther and an old Eagle here, and we hope you're enjoying this at home just as much as we are. I think, to be fair, it's almost a dead heat, even though the Panthers lead by 7 points at quarter time.
Well, being down there before the start of the game, I mean, I was down at ground level. It had to be, David, at least a 4 or 5 goal breeze, so I'm sure Coach Ken Applegarth couldn't be happy with his charges up to this stage of the game.
Well, they've been very, very tough at it. I mean, you talk about South Adelaide. They're hard at it players. Mills has been very good. Osborne's been very good. Genovese, I like the way he's tackled and gone about his game as well.
Yeah, he's a tough little nuggety little redhead. I mean, they really are. I mean, long sleeve jumper on the day. He's a very good player. But they just seem in the Eagles today, I mean, they've just been running the ball up forward through the centre line. And Matthew Kluzek really has been outstanding up there. Every time he gets a chance to, to kick a goal within that sort of range, he makes sure it goes through the middle.
Now, the Eagles, on the other hand, I thought their midfield worked pretty well. Chadrin Toole got caught once or twice, but Pays was finding the ball. Ziller was finding the ball. And I think it's fair to say that Kluzek at full forward and Pyman have really kept the Eagles in it.
Yes, they have, both those players. A duel out there that I really am enjoying is the 2 big ruckmen. I mean, big Crawshay up against Wiggins. A great duel, and I'm just looking forward to seeing the last 3 quarters.
We might have a look at Andrew Osborne as he kicks one of his 2 goals. I like the way he attacked the ball all quarter. He was just tough at it. And this one here was a true Rovers goal right at the back of the pack.
Yes, the first goal of the afternoon, Ken. We see Andrew Osborne. I mean, he's a favourite of ours. I finished my football when Andrew Osborne started. He was an exciting talent back then.
He was very young and you were very old, though.
Smart there, kicking the goal. He's a recruit coming over from Norwood and fitting into the Panther unit very, very well. You can see the skill there of Pyman. That one hitting the post, but he really is a beautiful finisher.
Yeah, just going forward here. Big jump by Sorry, not Big Burton. I was about to say that's Matthew Kluzek from behind. That's one of his marks and goals that he did kick. Just controlled the kick, kept it low. As we heard Ken Sheldon say, the club rooms behind there was to give him a little bit of assistance.
Pyman was very clever out to Kluzek. That's good finishing, Ken. That's what he's paid to do.
Yes, when you've got your 2 key forwards, like in that full forward line, focusing and finishing so accurately, it is terrific football, David.
And that was Andrew Osborne's 2nd goal. So it's 7 points at quarter time, and I think we've got a terrific contest on our hands.
It's going to be a great day, I'm sure. I mean, I said before, great conditions. It is cold down here at Woodville Oval, but the football is hot and it is exciting.
So we go down to Michael Parsons. Mark Micken would have been quite pleased, I think, Michael, with what the Eagles did in the first quarter.
Pleased enough, David, to say that to his players that they actually won the quarter, although they didn't win it on the scoreboard. He felt their level of work rate and the way they controlled the ball deserved them to say that they had won that quarter. Looking for them to keep their forward line open this quarter. Wants them to chip and then move the ball quickly into the forward line, into space, and look for the targets up in front. Ken Applegarth, on the other hand, he was reasonably pleased, but he started off with a bit of a spray to his crummers in the forward line. Did not think that the guys worked to get underneath the contest. Ryan Fitzgerald is supplying that contest. Big Harms is getting to the ball in the air, but he wants his smaller players to get underneath that contest and also look to get the ball away from the middle, David.
There seemed, Michael, if you don't mind, a good crowd around both coaches too, enjoying the coach's address.
Yeah, it's one of the great things about SANFL footy, isn't it? Just to be able to get out on the ground and listen to what the coaches have got to say. And one of the things I do enjoy is actually hearing the different tactics that these two coaches are carrying into this game.
Thanks for that, Michael. As the quarter-time scoreboard shows the Eagles trailing by 7 points. The score here is 4-3 South Adelaide, 3 goals to 20. The Eagles, and goal kickers. Kluzek has 2 against the Breeze. Pyman 1. Osborne 2 great goals. The South Adelaide skipper Fitzgerald and Smart have 1 each. Ken, statistically, Eagles have had more of the kicks, but thereafter there's not much in it.
That's right. I think, they're kicking against the Breeze, and I think the Eagles did do a very, very good job in that first quarter. I agree with Mark Micken's assessment that, in fact, although not on the scoreboard, I think they did win the quarter, but it was helped by the just brilliant accuracy of Kluzek and Pyman, the finishers.
Umpires Ron Betry, Troy Burton and Colin Rouston. And quickly in other matches around town, it is West Adelaide and North, with West Adelaide trailing by 7 points there. And at Unley Oval, Sturt lead Glenelg by 30 points. Well, poor Glenelg. As we go into the second quarter here, stay with us live until 5 on the ABC. Your commentator is Mark Nayley.
You hear the siren to start the second quarter here. Woodville Oval, 7-point margin to the Panthers. We'll just see whether it's enough to hang on till half-time. Crawshay gets his hand on the ball. Coming through hard there, number 42 in Chad Rintoul. Back to Crawshay. Has vision to find Badhams out wide. Just sets himself, Badham. Kicks the ball low, kicks it high. And a mark's taken safely. Playing in front there was Hodgson. So Hodgson goes wide. He's got Colville out there. Smart comes in. Also from behind was Norman. The foot race here will be Brett Lewell. Just sockers the ball forward. Back there also is Fruin. And a chance here for the Panthers just to keep the ball in their forward lines.
They've been good in these situations, the Panthers, from these throw-ins in their forward line. They've been able to manufacture scores from these neutral situations.
39, Johnson gets it down. Rintoul out to Colville. He just gets away with it, but the kick really, I think he was going for distance, not accuracy, that's for sure. Out of bounds on the full.
He's just made a couple of, well, unlike errors. They're just not like him to be making those mistakes. So he'll just have to settle himself down and get on with the job.
Genovese. That's a high one. Now, that's not holding up to the Breeze at all. Fitzgerald took front position, and it almost sat there beautifully for him. Working hard was Threadgold over the top of it for South Adelaide. 25 was Darren Holland for the Eagles. And that's Fitzgerald on screen, who I thought really backed himself in. He took off early, held himself up, but almost was rewarded.
Having a good duel with Doug Bailey. Mark Micken has put the extra physical strength of Bailey on the athletic Fitzgerald.
Johnson working hard to keep the ball in the forward lines. Again, it's pushed out over the line as Ken Sheldon snuggles up to Dave Mackay, because it is freezing here.
Now listen, don't you start those rumours.
Actually, you are acting as a bit of a wind block for me, which is nice.
It's good. It's very, very clever, actually, the positioning of the commentators. DB on to our left, the wind coming from that area.
Osborne, left leg, kicks it high. Hyams in front, couldn't take it. Good smother by Threadgold, keeps control, looks for support by Smart. The ball's thrown out by Palfrey, but it was tackled by Smart. Quinn comes in, takes the body, knocked the ball, back to Smart on his left leg, puts it high. The wind takes it. And then he takes it out of bounds on the full, but it just kept himself in and brings up a behind.
Some good hard football there by the Panthers. Threadgold with the smother, Quinn with the physical assault on the running Holland, and Holland lifted the eyes from the ball. It enabled Mills to gain clean possession and give the scoring opportunity to left-footed Smart.
Well, I think straight down the ground might be the go here with this sort of breeze, and that's exactly the way the Eagles head, but there was no one there. Johnson was underneath it. Wiggins couldn't quite get there. And even so, South Adelaide were all around the middle.
They'd structured up well, the Panthers, Johnson being the recipient of that kick, but the talls and smalls, the mixture was there, and it really was a poor kick.
Short, Smart, he dropped it. Leal was over the top of him, but he should have taken that one. Fitzgerald claimed by Bailey, dragged off it, play on, said the umpire. Threadgold comes crashing in for South Adelaide. as we go down to Michael Parsons.
And after the quarter-time break, the benches for both teams remained the same as they were at the start of the game. For the Eagles, Matthews, Filippo and Zappia, and for South, Bevan, Fernie and Pyman.
Thanks, Michael, for that. Threadgold in the thick of things again, claimed by Zilla. Now, the Zilla tackle rate is astounding when you see the number of tackles he applies in a game. And he is one of the toughest tackles in close in league football today. Bailey brings it down, tries to feed it off to Pesh. Now, Pesh has been quiet, he's been well held. We might ask you to cover that for us again. Just a second. Johnston thumps it down. Good work by South Adelaide. Is forcing it through. Threadgold again. He's been difficult to contain in the opening moments of this second quarter. Now he gets a shot at goal, but it's offline and through for a point.
It's just carried there. Threadgold playing at half forward pocket role. Has great pace and really can be damaging. But yes, Nathan Genovese is doing a terrific job on Nick Pesh. He has a fine record in that area, Genovese, as a scragging player. He's an exciting player in his own right too, I might add, but he certainly has had the scalper, for example, Brody Atkinson this year, and is doing very, very well on another very good player in Nick Pesh at the moment.
Oh, beautifully controlled there by Payes. Chance here for the Eagles. Great courage shown there by Burton. Kept control, gets it across to Colville. A certain goal for the Eagles. Put that one down to Matthew Kluzek, but Brett Burton, honestly, centre forward, Ken, that was sensational.
Yes, that's a perfect description. Any player that's been in that situation, you can see here the ball from Payes, it's carrying with the breeze, he's running blind. Any player that's been in it, that just brings goosebumps to your spine. Full marks to that fellow there. That's fantastic.
Still got the kick away from the ground.
Well, that's athletic as well, isn't it? But like just the courage to commit to that. Now, not that you just can't do anything else, but
you can, and a lot don't.
But you don't play too many games.
No, I was going to say, the coach gets the old chalkboard out and rubs your name off. But that was just unbelievable commitment from Brett Burton. You talk about setting yourself up as a player to watch. Well, they're the things you have to do. Payes underneath it. Oh, he's always had great courage too, hasn't he? 304 games for the Eagles.
He's starting off the back of the square at each of the ball-ups, perhaps playing on the half-forward flank, drifting. You'll see him hopefully drift down, using his footy smarts and probably finishing with 1 or 2 goals by the end of the quarter.
Goes for the long drop punt kick, fades away. Cobb at the back door, Perry in support. Quite content to take it to the line and push it over.
Well, that's a tactic that the Panthers need to apply, kicking against this strong breeze. You've just got to soak up the time where possible. But now, of course, they've got to watch the Eagles, as they probably, more than likely, will try and bring the ball to the back of this contest to open up the goal face.
The way it goes, Burton takes front position, forces it down, Zilla at the front. So they're still going with their tactic of bringing the ball forward. Pyman taken high. That's a free. Now, he's good enough to kick this as well.
Most definitely. He'll kick it from 48 metres, perhaps. He'll kick to the front of the square. The breeze will take it from left to right. And I would think well within his capabilities to finish with a goal.
He's got 1 goal, 2 from 7 kicks, and he is deadly. This fellow, good skills, compact player. 6th the year before, last year, in Melbourne's best and fairest, and still discarded. Oh. And have a look at the kick. It's coming back beautifully. This fellow is a beautiful kick. I know there's some better at AFL level, but not many at this level. And Pyman gets his 2nd.
I think that's a great call. I think leg injuries did cripple that player. Like, I've seen him at his best here when he was one of the favourites for the McGarry medal, and the Eagles were playing in the finals, in the grand finals,
93,
year after year, and he was very much regarded to be a high draft pick. He was eventually drafted, but just was crippled with, a bit like Peter Jonas. We've never seen the best of him at the next level, which he was, I think, and most of us would possibly agree, well within his capabilities to do very well at.
Yeah, I think Jonas could have, barring injury, been a great player in the AFL.
Eagles out to a 3-point margin now. The ball's knocked down by Crawshay. He finds Osborne. Again, the Eagles are there. Couldn't quite take the grab. Threadgold's got the running Bantams out wide. He can use Fitzgerald. He should. And he does. But a player over the top. He wants to get back quickly enough. He doesn't. He realises that by the time he did get the ball to boot, the Eagles players would have been down there to cover.
And he would have witnessed Matthew Kluzek kick a goal here in this first quarter from a similar position. He would back his confidence at being able to put this through if he keeps the ball over. What a mistake by Rogers and Holland, allowing that ball to hit the deck.
Ryan Fitzgerald. Remember that name. You'll be around for a long time as it puts it on its way. Beautifully controlled kick into this breeze. And the Panthers now They were down by 3. They're now up by 3, and that's Fitzgerald's second.
And that's a great answering goal, and it was Osborne who got the ball out of the middle. First possession, you can see here the mistake by the Eagles. 2 of them could have raffled who marked it, but they both let it go. It bounced awkwardly. Threadgold on the up, handballed it to the free Badhams, who was quick with his vision and found Fitzgerald in space.
The finish was good, wasn't it? And that was what was required. So 5-2 to 5-5. South Adelaide regain the upper hand. They're 3 points clear. The Eagles have the breeze, but South Adelaide and the Eagles, I think in this match, have shown that they're prepared to battle it out in the trenches. Johnston claimed by Wiggins, and the umpire said fair enough too. Held him long enough. No, too high, said the umpire. So okay, we'll go with that one. What do you reckon, Ken?
No, it was well done, although it was a good decision. I was just wanting to comment on a player that just burst through there, number 29 in Travis Hodgson. He's playing a very good game at half-back for the Eagles.
Burton, a high ball. Luke Norman goes to the back door. Cobb flicks it towards Quinn on the left boot. Well, he is compact. That was a clever kick. Badhams, the free-running player, delivers it into the breeze. A high ball, Crawshay front position. Wiggins, a raffle there with Hodgson. Hodgson paid, and the big man will drive it long. A high one, a big bomb towards full forward. Out comes Kluzek. Oh, Norman, I like the way he goes about it.
So we've mentioned in the build-up to the game that we haven't yet to see the best of this player at this level. He is a very, very good player, and if South Adelaide make an assault on the finals, this fella can have a big influence.
Just trying to find a player with a little bit of movement out there. Puts it high out towards the members' wing. At the back is Fitzgerald! Oh, tremendous grab. The ball gets moved quickly. Osborne's there to receive. Some good work and support by Big Crawshay, also by Badhams and Fitzgerald. Eventually the ball's kicked forward. We had no idea where that ball was about to go. Lucky break here for the Panthers. Got the running Threadgold. Will it sit? It does! This could be the second for the quarter. The first for Threadgold. And the Panthers, lovely build-up from the half-back flank. Pats on the back. Go all around to all that forward line players. Good work by the Panthers.
Norman and Fitzgerald started it all, Ken.
Well, Norman it was that just chipped into the spot. The kick was to Kluzek, leading to the sweet spot on the ground, 40 metres out from the Eagles' goal. But Norman just read it beautifully, took courage to take the mark, and from there the build-up was something special again with Fitzgerald. Like, what a mark, what a player. And then he's prepared to go. He's prepared to race hard to lay the shepherd. Tremendous play.
It's like the old gridiron, running and picking off a player, letting the ball carrier come with it. Was a good tactic, that's for sure. Crawshay wins that one. It falls down to Badhams. Genovese crashes through. The great courage shown by both players. Mark Nayley loves the contest.
Oh, it's good football, David. Just expect that. I mean, some assets out there. You need plenty of courage to get hold of that football. The players out there at the moment, the 36 players in their jumpers out there at the moment, really are giving all. Good contest. Genovese comes back in it again. Little fiery little redhead. Back to Quinn. The ball's high now. Chance here, must be a spoil and been brought to ground. Some good pressure applied by both sides. Pyman takes on Quinn. Coming through hard there is Palfreyman. Out to Osborne again. He just needs to control the ball towards the boundary line. Talbot's there. He should clean it up. Goes for the boundary line. The umpire blows his whistle. Will be thrown in.
And a great preparedness by the South Adelaide players to protect the ball carrier. They were just shepherding off the Eagles players as they were racing for that ball, enabling their teammate clear possession.
Wiggins got the tap from behind, believe it or not, but it was stolen away by Genovese. Tried to force it out to Mills, but Palfreyman has lifted a tempo. He really worked hard for that. Zilla to Wiggins, backdoor, bang goes Hodgson. A high ball, who wants it? Kluzek was underneath that one. Pays rows it, taken to ground beautifully by Pyman. Couldn't get away the kick, Pays. It was a great tackle.
Yes, and these 1% of things, the tackles, the smothers, the blocks, the shepherds, the push-offs, is first rate by the Panthers at this stage. They are dominating this second quarter. Difficult it is on the scoreboard because they are kicking against a strong breeze.
Again, we'll see another ball up. It's inside 50 for the Eagles.
So I think Nails, another move that the Eagles could consider. I think Matthew Badhams has been terrific in this second quarter, playing on this member's wing.
Mercurial Pyman again. I don't believe it. I think he has. Third. They don't come much better than that, David Mackay.
Well, it was just one of those goals that you back yourself in, Ken. You put it up with the breeze and it works.
Oh, look,
It's not that easy.
he's a tremendous.
Look at this.
He's a very highly skilled player. As good as they come in that area of the game. That's just great to watch that.
3 goals to Kluzek, 3 goals to Robert Pyman, and the Eagles just holding, staying down 3 points from the Eagles. In other matches around town this afternoon, West Adelaide by 11 points over North Adelaide, Sturt by 26 points over Glenelg, and remembering that Norwood play tomorrow against Central District.
We've had a bit of freakishness in this game, haven't we? A few great marks, a couple of excellent goals.
And considering, Ken, the difficult condition, now look, there's a classic. Pesh just claimed by Genovese. Every time Pesh gets the ball, Genovese is right on his hammer.
Very disciplined is Nathan.
6 disposals to Pesh, 8 to Genovese. Wiggins thumps it to space. Pyman just pushes it forward. Zilla, a tough one. A high ball. Kluzek's back there, so too is Cobb. And Cobb shows a little bit of class.
Yes, well, he's doing the right thing, Cobb. He is playing in front. Kluzek has 3 goals on him, but I don't think you can play any better than Cobb is playing him.
Scotty Webb just settling things down. Push it, no doubt, wide to the boundary line. He goes that direction, looking for Fitzgerald, who's come down, just slightly pushed. As you'll take, but a good mark. It's taken by, looks like a player's come on. No, it's Perry. We haven't seen too much of him on ABC Sport this year. But a good young player coming through the ranks. Andrew Osmond.
Ken Applegarth, Mark said he really likes what he sees in Perry. He's only 19. He reckons he's given him all and some. Not a bad rap for a rookie who's shifted states, taken by the Crows in the draft in the off-season, and settled in very quickly.
Mills, the chance here, just gets the ball forward. No player can pick it up, and finally ends up with Threadgold running inside at 50, goes to goals. That's his second for the quarter. Young David Threadgold.
It's an exciting player when heading towards goal, David Threadgold. Very, very quick. And when he finishes like that, very, very productive.
We're seeing a feast of goals in the second quarter.
They've been good goals too, haven't they? Like, really good goals.
3 goals to the Eagles and 3 goals to South Adelaide is good football. 6-2 to 7-5. We're 16 minutes into the second quarter. Stay with us at half-time as we have a look at what happened to Port Power against North Melbourne at Manuka Oval, and you'll see the Winston Abraham mark, fellas, which, if you haven't seen it already, looks like it might take the mark of the year in the AFL. It's an absolute ripper. You'll get a chance of having a look at that at half-time, so stay with us. We'll also have a look at tonight's match between St Kilda and the Crows, the grand final rematch. We're all looking forward to that one. And if you're an Eagle fan, we'll talk with young Michael DeByers, who's out injured for the Eagles today.
Ball's thrown in. Good knock by Wiggins. It's only gone as far as Mill. Johnson gives the contest. Coming across the front of the pack was Higgins. Weaves his way through the pack, puts it out in front, gives Kluzek a chance to take the mark. Kluzek intelligently moved to the front position over Cobb and takes a strong mark. Kluzek already got 2. Lines up for his 3rd.
He read that brilliantly. He read that brilliantly, did Kluzek. He might have 3 as he lines up here. And he kicked this in the form that he's in. You'd back him here.
So Matthew Kluzek, 40 metres out, puts it on its way. The distance is no problem. The accuracy is there as well. So Matthew Kluzek kicks his 4th.
Good play by Higgins. It took good courage to take that ball on the half volley here in front of the members' wing, and he used it to full effect. He put it out in front of Kluzek, who just read the ball beautifully off Higgins' boot. So well done, the Eagles.
4 kicks and 4 goals to Matty Kluzek to bring the Eagles back within 3 points yet again. It's been nip and tuck all afternoon, a tight one. It was only 7 points at quarter time, and it's 3 points 18 minutes into the second quarter. Wiggins opposed to Crawshay. That's been a great battle. Wiggins wins this one. Pesh thumps the ball away from Mills. Play on, said the umpire. The South fans were calling for over the shoulder. Norman getting better as the match goes on. Out to Webb, caught on the right boot, just hurries it forward to Smart. Over the top, Leal. Oh, that's holding the ball. Great tackle, Leal. Oh, that was a clever one. Just got him on the right hand and swung him off balance. Smart could do nothing.
That's what you love to see, those tough, hard tackles, committed tackles.
Now the skipper, Andrew Rogers, 3 times best and fairest, comes back inboard. 29 is Travis Hodgson. Only his 7th game, the big man, and he's showing some promise. Lifts the eyes. Big fly was up. That was Fruin. Couldn't hold the ball. Higgins back. Good work in the finish. To bend it back was Rintoul. Kluzek front position. Holds front position. Did very well in the contest. Held his line. Burton. Now Palfreyman clears, chips, and goals. It came back on the tide. The breeze got it, just bent it from left to right. It snuck in, and Palfreyman gets his first, and the Eagles are 3 points ahead.
That's a terrific goal. It was a hard-fought goal, a tough goal. Good spoil there from Cobb, and right at the front of the pack here, you'll see running hard is Palfreyman. Having a good duel with Scratcher Mills. Osborne was the man who was responsible for him at that moment, but just not quite able to tide him up. He really did take it on the full tilt and was able to finish it well. So he's having a reasonable game, Palfreyman.
Well, 50 plays, 47. The Eagles back in front. We're having a seesaw-soaring contest here at Woodville Oval. Osborne comes through. Badams is taken beautifully from behind.
Great tackle, McClure. Great tackle.
It was a good tackle. Rintoul got the ball high. Chance here for Burton over the back. Couldn't take it. Perry's in front. Just steadies himself. He's got players out wide. He goes towards Quinn. So Quinn, half back. Fitzgerald runs down from centre half forward. He should go in that sort of direction. It's a high ball again. Johnson, Fitzgerald, also Wiggins was up. And Hodgson. Neither player taking the mark, and the umpire will come in and should ball it up.
Stewie Palmer in the crowd just gives the umpire a spray. Good on you, Stewie. Get into your footy. Well, great to see some former South Adelaide players. Oh, he's chairman of the club now, isn't he, Stewie?
Certainly is.
Osborne to Johnston. It's good work. There's some real emotion at Pantherland now. Hams couldn't complete the grab. And at the back door, working hard. Smart and Leal go hard at it. Bailey flicks it out. Threadgold on the left, bends it back towards the point of the square. And look at this. Webb comes inside, left foot, bang and goal. And South Adelaide have taken the lead again.
Yes, Webb and Badams are playing particularly well across centre on each of the wings. And Threadgold is having a very, very good second quarter.
Threadgold just had the vision. Saw Webb there, yep. Wasn't that much space to find him, he did. And kicked the goal, Webb. Scotty Webb's first goal for the afternoon. The Panthers were down 3, they're back up to 3 again. A great contest here at Woodville Oval. Stay tuned for halftime when we cover all AFL games and SANFL have been played today, and also the Norwood Central's game. We'll preview that at Norwood Oval tomorrow. Genovese comes up with the football, goes across to Norman, and Norman quickly boots the ball, goes up to Fitzgerald. Couldn't quite time his jump or his run. Missed the ball. The Eagles should clean up. It's Pays. Right leg, drives it long. Quinn's there. Now 3 against 1 here, 4 against 1. From behind was Talbot, he takes it. Johnson and Wiggins will jump at this. Johnson gets his hands to it, couldn't quite get there. The wind really is causing a few headaches for a few of these players here. Osborne was taken high by Pyman's knee. He's down holding his head. Johnson comes wide, pushing the ball towards the boundary line. Gets a good handball up to Badams. Badams should keep it in. He does that, only as far as Pesh. Now what can Pesh do? Takes control. Contest from behind. Burton was there. Coming across, it was also as Colville. Just needs to slip it across him. Couldn't take it. Held without the football was Burton. Umpire calls play on. They're letting this game flow here this afternoon. As Osborne gets to his feet in the middle of the ground. You just see here, body on body. Both players saw each other coming. The elbow was down, so a good contest. Unfortunately, Osborne coming off second best. He's up and about. You can hear the applause as Osborne returns to the game, David.
Norman to Genovese. to Webb is good work. He's really growing in confidence. That last goal was just the icing on the cake. Rintoul shepherded beautifully. Off it allows 6 bounces to Webb. He's closing on 50 and goes long towards the goals. It'll lob short. Hand front position. Couldn't quite mark. At the back door, getting out the handball, doing it pretty well in the finish. The Eagles, Rogers to Hayes and Badams thumps it across the line.
Hayes being played across half back, which quite surprises me. I realise they're trying to get a bit of space in their forward line as they're kicking with a strong breeze, but his kicks are not really being of any effect at the moment. His disposals.
Oh, Genevieve's taken high. The umpire puts his arms to his chest, indicating it was held to him. There's some strong work taken or being done out here by both teams. I think it was just the impact of the player from behind. That's all it was. Good umpiring. Mills, the power from it, and also Zilla.
Scratcher Mills in screen. Having a reasonable duel, I think a very even contest with that of Nick Pest, but perhaps the votes at this stage, the points to Mills.
I thought Genevieve's had Pesh. Ken, is that changed?
Sorry.
Okay, we'll come back to you on that one.
I was thinking Pelfreyman.
So Norman, well, he's strong and tough. 5 and 5, 10 possessions, make that 11. Oh, the pack collapsed under the weight of Bailey. Wiggins comes back, tries to reclaim it. Now the Eagles just need to force it out, and in the finish, Zilla got it from Hodgson and goes wide in the direction of Kluzek, but the boundary line is not really an option for the Eagles. They have the breeze, they need to play the corridor, Ken.
And as time ticks down in the second quarter, they certainly need from this situation to manufacture the ball inboard, if they can, and into the goal mouth.
Behind was Cobb, puts it up high. Well read there. It's like Hodgson, it is. A wobbly kick forward. Adams is taken high to the mark or the free kick. Whichever way. He's got players moving. Decides to come across to Simon Quinn. Quinn looks up forward again. Hodgson is there. The free kick's been given away by Big Duck Bailey against Fitzgerald. Not a great deal in it.
Probably didn't look as pronounced on the video as it did in the actual. It was definitely a push there. The Eagles are just tending to bomb that ball a little, I think, David, into the forward line rather than use it effectively. We did hear Michael Parsons say that Mark Mickham was looking for them to chip the ball on occasions, use it and set it up. Well, I think they're just lacking a little in that area at this stage.
I think Brett Burton at centre forward is not giving them a target, and that's causing them a problem. They might be better off to go with Bailey or Wiggins and switch Bailey or Wiggins into the ruck, you know, either or. They need a target when they're going with the breeze. Maybe they'll look to that in the final quarter. But now Burton, I think he's more a half-forward flanker, this kid. You're asking a lot of him to play at centre forward. But that time, providing the run, clever. Look at this. Well done, Pyman. Look at the skills. And now, Kluzek, with 4 goals from 4 kicks in this match already, gets a chance to have 5 from 5.
That's a special talent in these strong and blustery conditions to be able to twist the body and put the ball lace out to Kluzek in front of the goal.
2 goals in the first quarter against the breeze, 2 goals with the breeze in the second quarter. Now make it 3 perhaps. Well, it slews off. The goal umpire has a good look at it and likes it. So it's just made it 5 goals to Kluzek, and the Eagles regain the lead by 3 points again.
A seesaw scoreboard. Kluzek, just a tremendous finisher. But look at this from Pyman. Really has the better of Talbot and just used the ball brilliantly. There's not much any defender could do there, but gee, Pyman, special skills.
So Matty Kluzek, 5 goals and 5 kicks this afternoon out of the Eagles' 9. So they're back in front, 3 points. Crawshay has been on top of Wiggins in the air. Wiggins has done some good work taking marks around the ground. Johnson backs himself through the pack, goes that way towards Kluzek. Kluzek left leg, goes high, and who's there? Is it Benny Pyman? Couldn't quite read the mark, running with the flight of the ball. Comes back to Kluzek. In there also is Chad Rintoul. And neither player able to keep it in.
Chad Rintoul, Ken would be looking for a big game to try and get back into the Crows lineup.
I think he's having a reasonable game. It was a bit quiet at the start of the second quarter, but he's now back into it again and featuring in, I think, the Eagles' best players, as I see it.
Peter Johnston on screen. Just hasn't he impressed the last month or so? His form's been good. And then again, competes for the ruck contest. Palfreyman just handballs it towards the line, takes it across. Now, Ken, he's only played, this is his 7th game. Now, was he up to the standard, or was it just fitness or timing for the Eagles? He had a little bit of injury, but played a lot of reserve football.
I think it's evident here today, just watching him, that it is conditioning that he's lacking at the moment. So he will improve as the games go on. Injury-free.
Higgins. High ball. No one under this for the Eagles, so the mark's taken by Perry, who's doing a good job at centre-half-back.
Yeah, very impressed with Perry, playing a strong game on an athletic opponent in Burton, but he really is reading the ball well.
So the siren sounds, it's half-time at Woodville Oval, and the Eagles lead by 3 points after trailing by 7 points. They kicked 6 goals straight that quarter. Accurate kicking with the breeze. South Adelaide, on the other hand, added 4 goals too.
And what was a terrific game, a quarter of football. It has been a terrific game of football. Smart on screen there. He was pretty smart in the first quarter, having a couple of opportunities to goal. He was well held in that quarter, however. The best players, I think, for the Eagles, definitely Pyman and Kluzek up forward, have been just fantastic focal points, kicking very, very accurately, using the ball brilliantly. Rintoul and Palfreyman have been pretty good in the midfield, and Holland and Hodgkin have been good across half-back. Whilst for the Panther machine, it is Osborne, Genovese, Badhams and Webb across midfield. I think that are doing very, very well for them. Perry at centre-half back, along with his back flanker in Norman, is very good. And up forward, Fitzgerald has been a tremendous focal point.
Fair enough. So at half-time, the Eagles at home at Woodville Oval are 9 goals to 56. South Adelaide are 8-5-53. You're watching the SANFL live and exclusive to ABC Sport. And stay with us throughout half-time. Ken, I think it's cold down here. A cup of tea wouldn't go badly. It's terrific, but hope you're enjoying this at home. You're certainly warm in the lounge rooms and enjoying the coverage right up until 5 o'clock. We'll have a look at the power and the collapse against North Melbourne at Manuka Oval in the ACT earlier in the day. We'll preview the grand final rematch between the Crows and St Kilda tonight at Football Park. And we'll go around the SANFL, have a look at the other matches, and we'll also talk with young injured Eagle Michael Tobias, and Michael Parsons will go head-to-head with him. You're enjoying this, Ken, aren't you?
Oh, it's a great game of football. There's been some tremendous highlights, from tough tackles, smothers, blocks, preparedness to run into the spaces. We've had some athletic, like some just tremendous high marks and acts of courage. That of Burton was just something, well, it was unreal. It was worth watching again and again and again. Fitzgerald for his marks. We've seen the brilliant roving of Osborne. We've seen the great tagging of Genovese. Just this game has had everything, and it really is in the balance.
I'll tell you a game that did have a little bit of everything was the Port Power and North Melbourne game at Manuka Oval in the ACT earlier today. It started at 11:10, and in that match we saw one of the great marks of the season. Winston Abraham took off in the forward pocket, Ken. I don't know whether you got a chance to see it, did you?
I haven't yet.
It was 12 points down. As we go to the highlights, we might pick it up in the highlight package. Now, 11:10 start. Tell us about that.
Well, it is a professional game now. It's being played all over the globe. There's a team going to Ireland after the season. They're promoting the game nationally, internationally. Professional players, 6 good games, 160 grand you get nowadays if you put your hand up. So you've just got to be able to play when the siren goes.
Now that's Bowen Lockwood, pretty handy mark, but we see one better later in the match. You'll have to wait for it. Allison returns home, goes for goal.
It'll have to be a beauty to beat that one.
It is. It is a ripper. Carey, after 19 goals in the last 3 games, has been very, very solid. Michael Parsons joins us. He was always going to be a danger man, Carey, Michael.
He certainly was, David, and I didn't see the game. I was out there chopping the wood like I should have been, so I'm interested in these highlights right now, but he's always a great player, isn't he? And I'm waiting for this mark to come up that you've been talking about all morning.
Eagleton gets another one. It's his second goal. Now, at one stage late in the third quarter, the Power came back within 12 points and looked like they were really making a charge. Things were working for them. They were running. The 12,500 crowd were really enjoying the action. And here it is. Watch this.
He puts
That is a hanger. That is an absolute hanger, Ken. Did you enjoy that one?
Yeah, I don't know. I never took too many of them.
Now, from that point, they went from, I think, 12 or 14 points up to 20, and it was all over. In the space of 15 minutes thereafter, it was 36 points out, and it was a blowout, and finally, a big win to North Melbourne. Have a look at that. They kicked 6 goals, 8 in the final term, while Port Adelaide managed 2 goals, 3. A blowout after being so close just before three-quarter time. And goal kickers, Roberts got 3 for North Melbourne, Winston Abraham 2, 1 from that big mark. Freeborn, our own Freeborn, with a couple, Hewitt a couple, Bowen Lockwood got 4, and Eagleton 2 beautiful running goals, as did Adam Kingsley. But that's hurt Port Power, Ken. They needed a big effort, and we might get a chance to have a look at that mark again. Would you like to have a look at it?
I'd love to.
If the boys have got it there, let's have a look. Carey pops it in. Now look how far he comes. He's 30 metres away. And hangs. Now that's great. Now tell us, you know, why Manuka Oval, why the ACT and why Canberra? Why would North Melbourne give up an MCG home match to go to Canberra?
Well, there's no doubt that the AFL are looking to relocate a team to Homebush Stadium in Sydney. Perhaps it's North Melbourne. North Melbourne, of course, are, I guess, diverting that attention by promoting their emblem, the kangaroo, marking it nationally, saying that games to Manuka, you know, offsetting, I guess, the focus perhaps. But, you know, who knows the hidden agenda. But certainly the AFL are looking to relocate a side to Homebush. Gee, North Melbourne would be terrific. They've got the best player in the competition at this stage, a homegrown boy from Wagga, the national emblem, you know, 4 games up there this year. There's got to be less sides in Melbourne eventually. And why not?
So North Melbourne, perhaps to Sydney or Canberra. I think the rumour is they're heading towards Homebush as we have a look tonight at the Crows and St Kilda, the grand final rematch. Mark Naley rejoins us. We've got the teams here, Mark. It's an interesting lineup from both sides, and you look at who's in and who's out. 7 changes for the Crows.
Yes, plenty of changes, David. You know, for tonight's game, but these conditions, I mean, very important game for both clubs. Not only Adelaide trying to hang on to their place in the 8th, but also with St Kilda. I mean, after last week's loss to Western, I mean, they need to get back into the winning frame.
Stewie Lowe is out. They'll certainly miss him, St Kilda.
Yes, definitely. I mean, big Stewie Lowe still got 1 more week to serve on his suspension. I mean, they will miss him. I mean, that last week, I mean, that's what they needed. They needed Stewie Lowe up there just to be able to help out Heatley up forward. But, I mean, Adelaide tonight, I mean, they've got a lot to play for. And they've got haven't got a bad team. But, as you said, I mean, 7 changes or 6 changes in a week because Anthony comes back in. I mean, that's a fell of a lot of changes into a side and maybe a little bit unsettling for the players that are out there today.
Michael Parsons, the big news, of course, is that Robran is back and so too is McLeod. 2 big gets for the Crows.
Really do like Robran at centre-half forward. If you have a look down their goal line today, it really is a reasonable line, isn't it? Jamison, Craven, Rashudo, Robran and Jarman. You put those players down on paper and you really think, well, that's a pretty good Crows side, but you really would wonder if they do have the capacity to get over St Kilda that just so good through the midfield with Harvey and Burke just getting so much of the ball. Okay, McLeod is named on a half-back flank, Ken. He's missed 3 matches with a thigh injury and I think just before that, he missed 4 with either a hamstring or a knee injury, I think it was. So he's missed a lot of football. A lot of people thought he wouldn't be back until the derby next week, but they brought him back. Is it a week too early? I mean, I suppose they're not going to play him if he's not fit.
Well, is he playing?
Okay, so a bit of subterfuge already. Have you got some mail on that?
Well, I haven't, but, it's a situation, I guess, of one where you're coming back from those type of injuries. I guess the ultimatum has got to be put on the kid to play. Like, it is crunch game for the Crows today. They need to win it. They've been let off a little bit by Port Adelaide losing today. Next week's showdown, it becomes another great game, an even greater game.
Well, the Crows have lost their last 2, 4 points to Carlton, a point to Fremantle, a heartbreak there. I don't think they've lost 2 in a row at Football Park since they've been coached by Malcolm Blight. I think their record is 16 wins and 6 losses. Now, their last one was a loss against Carlton. He holds his record in high regard, Malcolm Blight.
Yes, he does. But you know, back on the McLeod issue, like if he's fit enough to play, he's got to play. But if he's not, well, he can't. And you know, that's the situation. That forward line, though, Modra, Jarman, and Wren.
Just quickly, who gets the job on Robert Harvey? Kane Johnson is out, not able to take his place in the lineup. Clay Sampson is taken from South Adelaide into the Crows squad. But do they play Sampson, or does Brett James or Kimmy Costa or perhaps even Andrew McLeod? Does he get a run on him? Simon Goodwin? Who gets the job?
Well, that's right. It needs to be probably a combination of those players. But, you know, for mine, I'd be going captain on captain or captain on Brownlow medalist.
Not a bad one, that one. And you're a St Kilda man. You'll be sticking with the Saints?
Oh, well, yeah, of course, I have to, but, you know...
What about you, Nails? Are you staying with the Crows or are you going to jump off?
Would you believe, David, I'm going to go for the Crows this week.
And what about your big ruck partner down there?
I'd love to see him win just to keep that final sniff alive in Adelaide.
All right, fair enough. Now, Ken, Wednesday night you're at the AFL 200 Club dinner. You must have enjoyed the celebrations there, the odd wine or two.
It was a tremendous night, David. It's 200 Club is formed by players that have played players and coaches and umpires that have been involved in 200 or more VFL, AFL games. It was introduced by Wayne Jackson, and it was really a tremendous night. And I just wonder, is there such a thing here in the SANFL where they have a 200 Club? Because it's just a tremendous night where, you know, like, it was just great for footy.
Fair point. There were 18 new inductees into the AFL's 200 Club. Now, Ken, you might walk us through some of those, some of the great names of modern AFL football.
Yes, well, Brett Ellison, of course, a great North Melbourne player from Canberra, but, you know, you look at Robert Harvey playing here this evening, Tony Liberatoria, Brownlow medalist, and Todd Viney, of course, a former South Australian, John Worsfold, the West Coast Eagles captain, as is Barry Stoneham, the Geelong captain.
Now, Mark Naylor, you'd enjoy this. So there are 7 South Australian players in the AFL 200 Club, and there they are, the true greats. Stephen Stretch included. He won a Melbourne Best and Fairest, as has Todd Viney, but amongst them some great names.
Yeah, some great names. I mean, Johnny Platten still playing here with Central Districts when he gets back from his knee injury, but you know, Craig Bradley, as I said last week, must be getting pretty close to 400 games of football between the two states, and you know, Todd Viney has been there for a long while.
Now, Mark, tongue-in-cheek, I think you asked me before the match why Peter Carey wasn't there, perhaps Russell Ebert and Lindsay Head. They reckon if you can get all the old VFL old-timers in, why don't we put the SANFL old-timers in?
Yes, possibly. I mean, the SANFL have got their own 200 Club. I mean, that they have an annual dinner coming night, which is a great night for the league, which they do put on. I mean, it really is involved for those players that have played 200 games, and as Ken said, it's just a great night to be able to catch up with your old mates that you played against for years.
All right, fair enough. Now, what about that, Ken? Is there a VFL 200 club?
No, it is a combined club.
There'd be a few people take exception to an AFL 200. When there's a VFL, there's an SANFL. Why don't the AFL throw in all the 200 players from the SANFL, the Waffle and the VFL all into one?
Yeah, well, as I say, I think it's certainly got a bit of credit to talk about that. It just really was a great night where football was the topic of the night. Like, there were 100 and something people there, and
100 and something headaches.
Yeah,
the next morning.
Exactly. On the aeroplane on the way back, I just ticked the blokes that I'd said g'day to in some form or matter, and I went through 76 blokes that I actually spoke to on the night. It really was a great night.
Now, Mark Naylor's been flipping through the Herald Sun in Melbourne. There's an interesting article, Mark, on Phil Carman, the Sturt coach.
Yeah, tremendous, wasn't it, David? I mean, this morning I picked up the Herald Sun and there he was. Phil Carman, 2 pages, as you can see there, talking about Coach Carman, will he be a rebel without a cause? And, I mean, there's been plenty of rumours being circulated around this town and also in Melbourne that possibly Phil Carman next year, Brisbane, maybe Collingwood. I mean, there's plenty to talk about it over there, but there will be some changes, and even possibly Carlton has been talked about as well, in that either senior level or assistant level.
That'd be interesting. Do you reckon he'd make a good coach, Ken? You've been there, you've done that.
Oh, look, I'm sure. He's got his side off. Well, look, nobody wanted to coach Sturt 3 years ago. You've got to remember that. Phil was the bloke that took it on. Yep. He's won the admiration of everybody. And it's no mean feat. It's one of the all-time great coaching feats. Now, there he has his detractors, he has his supporters, but gee, he's done it.
I want to be supporters. I think he's done a terrific job. Now, I'll put you right on spot before we go to the SANFL situation. The Adelaide Crows sitting 7th. They've won 9, lost 8. Now, they face St Kilda, Port Adelaide, Geelong, North Melbourne and West Coast. Now, none of those is a gimme game. Are the Crows in danger of missing out on the finals?
Premiership one year, miss the 8 the next.
They could in theory, couldn't they?
No, very possible, very real.
So the task is ahead. I hope all the South Australian fans get down to Football Park tonight and cheer on the Crows as they go as we go to Richmond Oval and the match that's in progress there, West Adelaide and North Adelaide. Michael Parsons, you're an old North man and your Roosters are in a bit of bother.
They are, aren't they? They started off the year with such high hopes after playing in the finals last year. Chris McDermott's second year, a year of coaching under his belt, but the wheels just have fallen off over the last little while.
They're sitting in 8th position. They've only won 5.
Yes, and they really need to win a couple of the last 5 just to put them on the right footing looking for next year, because that's all that they're doing right now is looking to next year.
Fair enough. As we go to Sturton Glenelg, Mark Nailey has a look at it. Sorry, as we go to the other match, Mark, is Sturton Glenelg. We might just cover that while we get a chance. Sturton have been in good form. Glenelg, on the other hand, have been absolutely terrible. And today, Scott Robertson and Julian Burton played their 100th SANFL games.
Yeah, great achievement for those two players there. But the Double Blues at home, only over one of their 4 games for the year, David. They really are in awesome form. Beaten last week by the Magpies, Port Adelaide Magpies down there. It really was a great effort by the Magpies. But Sturton, I mean, they just hate being beaten now. And they came back and, up to half-time there, or quarter-time, they were well in front. But I think the Bays, possibly just kicking back. But they had a good win last week, the Bays, up against the side we're watching today in the Eagles. But what's it take for the Bays? I mean, last week it was Nick Chigwidden's big 250 game. They celebrated for that. And their only other win for the season was way back when I think it was Glenelg played North Adelaide.
Round 2.
A bit of bonus playing there as well, because it was the 2 old Macs come up against each other. So possibly the motivation for the Tigers. I mean, each week they might have to have a milestone, so they just need to be able to play a little bit harder. But the Bays, their season's well and over and done with, and Sturt under Phil Carman. I mean, Phil Carman just, we talked about before, but really, I mean, his first 2 years he was there, I think he cleared out 22 players the first year, 18 players the second year. He really has sort of built a side over the last sort of 3 or 4 years.
He has. I like Mark Nailey when he's like that. He was being so nice in the first half. Worried me we had the wrong guy. What about Norwood and Central tomorrow, Ken? Interesting clash, because Central, if they're to be bona fide premiership contenders, really need to have a big crack at the Redlegs. In fact, even beat them.
Well, they need to beat them, David, tomorrow. That's right. The Redlegs, when you look at them, have had a bye in the last 3 weeks. They've also made up to 15 changes in their side, 7 and 8 respectively. Last week against the Panthers, they had enough of the football to win the game, but they were poor coming into their 50-metre zone, and they were very poor with the goal-face finish. So they left a lot to be desired. They were a very frustrating side to watch last week, the Redlegs, and they will need to, I think they're very vulnerable at the moment. So the Bulldogs certainly have every opportunity to make a name for themselves.
Have won 10 and 5, and Central have won 8 and lost 7. As we go down to Michael Parsons with Michael Tobias.
Yes, thanks, David. With me, Michael Tobias. Michael, out this week with a knee injury. How did you do it, and how's it coming along?
It's coming along not too bad towards the end of this week. Last week at the Bay, just went up for a spoil and came down and sort of landed on it awkwardly and just sort of twisted it. What I've done is I've stretched my my medial, and it was pretty sore at the start of the week, but the physio is quite happy with it. It's come on well towards the end of the week, so it's good, yeah.
And you've actually been in the medical rooms rather than watching the game today?
Yeah, I started off there. I didn't even see the start of the game. I missed the first quarter and half of that quarter, so no, it's good to get out of the rooms and have a look.
And would you be expecting you back on the track next week, or you're out for a couple?
There's a bit of rehab next week. We've got the bye, so yeah, the following week I think I'll be on the track and round again, I suppose, yeah.
It's sensational. The guys are staying in there today after a good win by the second side again today, and that's carried on with the seniors.
Yeah, that's good. It's pretty even contest at the moment. It's 3 points in it or something like that. So yeah, this is the quarter though. We're kicking against it, and we'll see how we go. And come home with a breeze.
And how you found Mark Miggins coaching in his first year?
Well, I reckon he's good. He's given me a bit of a run, so I'm pretty happy with that. But no, he's good. He's very approachable. You can talk to him about your footy whenever you want, sort of thing. So yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's good.
All right, Michael, thanks for taking the time to have a chat with us here at half-time. Thanks, David.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, the two Michaels, as we come back upstairs. And I liked the first half. It was a lot of goal scoring in difficult conditions. Fitzgerald, Osborne and Threadgold had 2 each for South Adelaide. Pyman had 3 for the Eagles, but the man who really stole the show, Ken, was Matty Kluzek, who kicked 5 goals from 5 kicks.
Yes, and there's a great mark there, great courage by Burton. Freakish the way he got rid of it, and Pyman there, Kluzek running into the open goal for the easiest of his goals. But look at this for skill from Pyman. He's got the high kick. Breeze carrying that ball left to right. That's just a brilliant goal, a very skillful goal. And Coach Ken Applegarth, to my way of thinking, will some serious consideration into stopping those two players, because they are indeed the reason that the Eagles are in front. That mark from Fitzgerald, he's been a key focal point for them.
As McNally rejoins us, Threadgold was a live wire in the second quarter. He got a couple, Mark, and really kept the Panthers in it.
Yeah, 2 goals there, David, to Threadgold, but really was a good quarter of football. We saw the league change. I think it was 4 occasions there in that second quarter. But as you said, I mean, the Matthew Kluzek and also Robert Pyman show, but one there from Pauperman.
And there is the halftime scoreboard. The Eagles are 9 goals to South Adelaide are 8-5. A 3-point ball game after South Adelaide led by 7 points at quarter time.
Kluzek with 5, Pyman with 3. A double-pronged attack for the Eagles. Pelfreyman playing in the centre, crumbing that his goal. Osborne crumbing a couple in the first quarter, playing first rover for the Panthers. Threadgold very effective in the second quarter in the forward pocket. Fitzgerald is the key forward, has got a couple as well, and Webb and Smart as half-forward wingers drifting into the forward line, doing very well.
Well, the stats there, David, as you can see, I mean, nothing really in it. As to the game's only 3-point margin. Hit-outs favouring the Panthers, but also, I mean, the frees are pretty low. Handballs are pretty even, marks are pretty even, only 5 about there, and also kicks, but just individually up to half-time. For the Eagles, got Pyman's got 12, Rintel's got 12, and Hodgson and also Higgins with 12. So fairly low there. Kluzek's only had 5 kicks, but he's kicked 5 goals. And for South Adelaide, we see Osborne also having one of the early favourites for this year's McGarry medal with 19 possessions up to half-time. Bantams with 13, also Genovese with 13. And I was wrong. I thought the lead may have changed 4 times there. I've been corrected by Ian Mogridge, our statistician. It changed 7 times, David.
Yes, you never were good at maths, Mark. But thank goodness we've got Ian Mogridge with us. He helps us out from time to time. At Unley Oval, it's Sturt 8-4. Glenelg 2 goals too, and that'll give Mark Nally another chance to put the boot into the Tigers. But they are in a rebuilding phase, no question about that. Antonio McGuinness, we believe, has got the full confidence of the players and will go forward next year with the Glenelg club. Well, Ken, the Eagles are out early, warming up, so too are the Panthers. It's very cold here. Actually, we might go down to Michael Parsons and just check on that breeze. Big Michael.
Yeah, the breeze is about the same as it was at the start of the game, but it did drop off there during the first quarter, but picked up again. And you're right, David, it is freezing. That wind, even though it's out of the north, is very, very cold.
And we need to know if you've got your long johns on, Michael.
I have got the long johns, the Bonds Chesty Bond T-shirt, the jumper, the dryers are bone. I'm rugged up and I'm still cold.
Oh, dear me. I did that job for 10 years. They never gave me any of the sorts of things you're wearing today. The youth of today, they've gone soft. It's absolute truth. The umpires are Ron Bettridge, Troy Burton and Colin Rouston. And to pick up the call of the second half, it's Ken Sheldon with Mark Nally.
Yes, thank you, Dave. Just waiting, the players getting themselves organised. As we hear the siren start the third quarter. 3-point ball game. 9-2 plays, 8 goals, 5. Wiggins, Crawshay, and also Pesh takes the ball from the air.
So look at the lineups there, Mark. I don't think there's any changes that have been made. I think players have taken up where they finished off at half-time.
Yeah, both coaches really have been attacking today. They haven't played loose players across the back line, haven't flooded their back line, as we've heard Dave Mackay mention earlier in the call. It's all out attack. Ball coming over the top. Quinn couldn't keep control of it. Wind's starting to pick up here at Woodville Oval. Norman comes out, got support out wide through Claude Hesse, goes back to Quinn. Quinn goes back to Norman. Norman's in trouble, goes across to Genovese, couldn't find his target. Back to Mills. They have the numbers, the Panthers. It goes up high through Talbot. The ball's kicked in 55 metres over the back. Big Dark Bailey. Bailey plays on. Comes out wide. And it finds the safety of the boundary line. Oh, lovely day here at Woodville Oval, in the back of the grandstand.
Oh, thank goodness for television.
The temperature's dropped 5-10 degrees.
Well, I hope you're enjoying it at home because it's blowing a gale. It's freezing cold.
They're playing at the South Pole.
And the players are giving a great account of themselves in these conditions. Let's just share that with you. Threadgold forward, Mills in front. Pelfreyman tries to run him down successfully so late as the ball goes across the line. And there's 3 hardy Eagle fans gone for the hot coffee. Don't blame them.
Sensational part of footy, isn't it? Don't they just love it?
Well, it's great to see the support of South Australian football followers unblemished in the toughest of conditions. Johnson takes front position, brings the ball to ground. Rogers dives in on top of it. 25 for the Eagles. Working hard was Darren Holland, and the umpire indicates there'll be a bounce.
The Eagles by 3 points.
If you're going to shiver, Ken, will you turn your microphone off?
It's cold. Genovese comes out with it. In there is Pyman, sockers the ball forward. Couldn't be kept in there, or controlled there by Fitzgerald. He sees it over the point line.
It'll test me dentist anyway with these fillings. There'll be people sitting back there in lounge chairs laughing, and well, you may.
The Eagles to bring the ball back in. It's high. It's coming out wide. The back is Wigan. Crawshay tries to keep front position. He does that. Pyman's up over the top to Genovese. The little terrier goes at it again. Ducks his head. Pyman couldn't quite get to it also. He's there. Zilla was the player that had to go there at Genovese. It's onto the boot. It's high. This wind is picking up here, and Talbot takes a good mark.
Well, he's had his work cut out for him in defence. He's had the job on Pyman, and Pyman really has had the better of that. Darren Holland handballs it forward.
This is the quarter where Talbot, though, can make amends. He can make a lot of ground here because he is such a deadly and long kick. And if he can use that to full effect, the Panthers can kick a lot of goals as a result of his possession.
Kolb and Kluzek are the only two players the Eagles side of centre. For the rest, it's congestion in the South Adelaide forward line. Andrew Rogers takes it, heads towards the boundary line. Webb handballs it forward to himself, and off the boot there of Pyman. Out of bounds on the full. It's an Eagle free kick to be taken by Bailey.
Very unlucky. But the rules are the rules.
Andrew Pace takes the kick. He was quickly on the spot, wasn't he? Looking for a kick. It's been a tough day at the office for Pace. He has been a great player for the Eagles. A high ball. Who wants it? Rogers underneath it. Big pack. Wiggins sets himself. Osborne off the ground. Forces it into Pace. He can run onto it from here and set it up on the left. He swings around. Points it back towards the point of the square and under it. Pace plays on quickly. Crashes through. Feeds it out. Did that very, very well. And Brent Fruin can explode away for the Eagles.
Player he's trying to find out wide is McClure. He takes control. It gives it wide of the Higgins. Higgins goes up looking for Colville. With him also is Burton. The big, long, stretchy arms, got the ball down to ground level again. Chance here.
Smart play.
Oh, no. Kluzek again just runs in. Check sides it.
6 from 6.
6 kicks, 6 goals. Match-winning effort.
It's a long way from home yet.
Full credit to Andrew Pace. He took him on. He attacked from half-back. And the Eagles worked the ball brilliantly into the breeze. Very smart play from Burton. Just put it out into the space ahead of Kluzek. Knew that Kluzek had the leg speed and the finishing ability. That was a great goal from the Eagles, set up by Andrew Pace at halfback.
Kluzek has 6 goals from 6 kicks, a perfect record. The Eagles are 10-2, South are 8-6. Remarkably accurate kicking considering the tough weather conditions here at Woodville Oval. Osmond dragged off it by Zilla. Crawshay gets the handball out. Rintoul upended. Play on, said the umpire. They've been consistent with that all day today. It's not bad. Zilla forward to Colville to Burton. Burton comes back on the left, swings it high. It's a big one. Who wants it? Kluzek underneath it. Cobb. Desperation, thumps it away, 30 metres clear, did very well. Colville's down, Quinn got him. It was a tough contest, both players went at it. Now Palfreyman sets it up, brings it around, swings it out back in the direction of Burton and Kluzek. Kluzek couldn't mark. Burton now swings back on the right, goes for the left, gets away a handball, no, but Perry intercepts beautifully. He's done a great job in defence, Perry, and Webb relieves the pressure for South Adelaide towards the boundary line.
Not relieved for long because Rintoul takes it. Now the umpire is
causing confusion.
I don't know. He's caused confusion.
It was shepherding when the ball was more than 5 metres away.
Giving the kick. Hang on.
It's Pace's kick.
Oh, dear me.
What was all this about?
Well, it's Rintoul's kick, I should say.
Why wouldn't you allow the advantage? What's going on? Okay.
We'll went on that later. Over the back, Burton.
This fellow's lit right up here.
He's starting to work. He's working hard to get his kicks and he's taking his grabs. The ball only goes as far as Battams. So Battams has got a running player out wide, Johnson. Needs to sit for him, it does. He's up out on the left-hand side. It goes up wide. Now, what can Fitzgerald do under a fair bit of pressure from behind from Bailey? Bailey sees it, or makes sure it goes out over the line.
I reckon Ronnie Bettridge blew his whistle to keep warm, you know. It is very cold. Michael Parsons will give us an update on the interchange as they happen.
Ooh.
Threadgold. Paisley in pursuit, just tripped over the top of him. Rintoul delivers it long and short and low. Badhams couldn't mark it. That breeze is blowing a gale. It's difficult for players. It looks very easy from up here and at home, I can assure you, but out there it is tough on the players.
Seagulls going backwards.
All right. That one's for the Christmas tape. Johnson. Andrew Rogers fighting hard for it, doesn't he always? Now, what about these guys, fellas?
And Benny Pay's just come off the ground, so he's been working and he's still freezing.
So we go down to Michael Parsons.
And that interchange you're talking about was, in fact, Bevan coming on for his first run in replace of Ben Hyman.
Thanks, Michael.
Fitzgerald at the back, putting a body work done. The shepherding's been called by the umpire as Fitzgerald went to ground. So Fitzgerald, the crowd there, the South Adelaide supporters, happy with that decision. Nothing in that, Ken Shield. Absolutely nothing.
There must be an instruction at AFL level, because in the last week we've seen some shockers in the AFL, and now the cancer spread to the SANFL.
Well, I actually agree with that decision. He had no intention to do anything but push him out of the contest.
There's nothing wrong with that. The ball's within 5 metres.
Well, I don't think it was. I think the ball was a long way away.
All right. Well, Fitzgerald gets the goal, and we'll continue our argument off air. But I reckon it's good play for a player to position himself. The ball comes in. Now, let's see where the ball is. The ball is there. Maybe you're right. OK. More than 5 metres away, I'll give you that.
But Bailey didn't have his eyes on the football. His intent was clearly to push the player out of the contest.
That's a fair call. If the ball was within 5 metres, though, I'd reckon that's not a free.
That's right. That's good football. Then it's footy smarts.
OK.
Protecting your teammate.
Just a bit early.
That's right. A bit early. And he's also got to be a better actor than that. He's got to turn the head a little bit.
We go down to Michael Parsons on the boundary again.
And during the break in play, Simon Quinn has taken the opportunity to get a trainer to run out and replace a dislocated finger. So he must have been playing that for a little while before he called the trainer out into the ground.
How do you replace a dislocated finger, Michael?
Put it back in.
OK.
That's Rogers. Andrew Rogers kicks up the line. Burton just a little bit too mobile at the moment for Perry. Really is working hard. A clash of bodies will occur here. It does, with Kluzek keeping his feet. From behind again, players diving over it. Umpire rushes in and will ball it up. For the Eagles at the moment, they're starting this quarter. They've got Rintoul loose on the half-back line. Also, Payes is back there. A couple of players really are mining, making sure that they can hang on to this lead. The ball's kicked up high. There's no blue jumpers there. Rintoul takes a good mark. He hits the ground running, gives it across to Page, goes forward to Colville. Colville will get murdered. He does that. Take it high. Also in the back. And will receive the free kick.
It's the correct option. It was just a poor execution from Page, but the tackle then was a little undisciplined.
Only one player forward of centre. That's Fitzgerald and also Bailey. And the South Adelaide forward line comes to the ground. Hodgson puts it up high from behind. Ball couldn't be taken by like Fruin. It was. It's a high ball again, and there's no South Adelaide jumpers down here. Most of them are lurking across that back line. Hodgson again goes over the top to Zilla. Quick hands in tight. Finds Palfreyman. Puts it high. One-on-one duel will be here. Cobb over the top. Needed to keep his feet because Pyman's taken it and will kick a goal. Pyman, that's his fourth.
And a perfect forward pocket goal. He roved the pack to the front and square, read the spoil of the pack. Look at this, just holds his balance here and puts it through with a lovely goal. Again, beautiful skills by Pyman. A smile coming to the dial. He knew it was the full points. That's where you got to be, at the front of those packs as the ball hits the contest.
4 goals, 2 to Robert Pyman from 11 kicks. A sound return from a forward pocket player. The Eagles lead by 8 points. This game right in the balance. South Adelaide with the breeze this third term, but the Eagles are doing a good job. They led by 3 points at half-time and have extended it. Rintoul got it from Pesh. A long one. Oh, Burton. He is clever. He loves a fly and he knows how to take a grab. McClure, who's been very quiet today, gets off a handball. Burton off the ground, goes forward. Talbot had an airy, now Battams. Just a short, sharp one. Trent Mills just inside the 50-metre defensive line. Crawshay feeds it off, now Cloesy. They're running South Adelaide. They look dangerous when they come out of defence and they move the ball quickly. Threadgold couldn't take charge. Smart couldn't either. Threadgold got double-teamed by Pays and Rogers. Now Threadgold again, they're working furiously out there, the players. It's Johnston, a long left handball to Osborne, who chips it in short. That's great play. Fitzgerald on the lead in front of Bailey. 35 metres out on a very tight angle.
Doing that very well, South Adelaide. They're ferocious in the packs and they're holding their structure, their game plan well. Just one player dropping forward of the play in those situations, and they're looking for him on every occasion. Many times it's Smart. On that occasion, it was Osborne.
Ryan Fitzgerald, 3 straight goals from 5 kicks. Good return from him. Heads the South goal kickers, and this one comes back on the breeze. The goal umpire has a good look. Puts 2 fingers in the air and indicates that's 4 on the board to young Ryan Fitzgerald.
Terrific game of football. You can see just the ferocity here. Threadgold, one attempt out to Johnson, and there's the handball over to the player that's dropped back. He's dropped away between the pack and the goals to create some space for himself, and then used it beautifully on the left foot to Fitzgerald. He's been a focal point, a terrific player, a terrific duel there between Fitzgerald and Bailey, whilst at the other end, Kluzek and Pyman are dominant forwards as well.
68 plays 66, a 2-point ball game here. Woodville Oval. We played 13.5 minutes into this third quarter. Plenty of time for both sides. It's high. Osborne takes it, beautifully read. Kept his feet, puts it up forward. Fitzgerald, the speedster, up also with Pays, who's playing a loose man in defence. He comes up with a better. Goes back wide. Fruin wanted to get moving before he even had the football. Bailey goes to the boundary line. The umpire will throw it in.
Good play by Bailey, realising that they made a couple of errors there, putting themselves under pressure. He elected to whack it to the safety of the boundary.
The Eagles by 2 points. It's a tight one, 14.5 minutes into the third quarter. Johnson taps it down. Osborne tries to rove it, couldn't get clear. 29 over the top, calling for a taxi, is Travis Hodson, the 21-year-old Eagle. And our Perry's off. Is that the blood rule? We might get Michael Parsons to check on that and report back in a moment or so. As the ball goes to ground, Johnston opposed to Rogers. Rogers it was who comes away with it. A hurried kick, it's a high one. Luke Norman underneath this one. He doesn't miss too many of those. That time he does. Quinn gets it out. Osborne on the left. A long bomb deep to the square. Who wants it? It's 2-on-2 back there. Hams brought it down. Mills snaps. Goal! Well done, Trent Mills. Very clever roving. And Mills gets his first.
It's a brilliant goal. And again, evidence of if you play the percentages. As a small man, when the ball hits the packs up forward, you've got to be at the front and square. Here you see great courage from Norman, almost taking the mark. Quinn, tremendous strength, and has been very good at half-back for the Panthers. Osborne, their best player, putting the ball along there, and you can see there, just brilliantly read. Great reflex, balance, quickly on the left.
First goal to Trent Mill. That's the Panthers 11. They get back the lead. There's 72, plays 68, and Michael Parson. What's the temperature like down there at ground level?
The action's excellent, except for Ian Perry, who they've actually taken him downstairs, I'd say, to get a couple of stitches on a cut on the inside of his mouth.
Bad news there for Ian Perry. He should be back this afternoon. Cobb keeps his feet beautifully. In front of Kluzak, really is tightening up hard. Now, good mark by Threadgold. Got Johnson out wide, running hard. He should go down towards Fitzgerald. One-on-one Fitzgerald up against Bailey. This time he does. He puts it out in front of Fitzgerald. He'll jump at it. No, he doesn't. Stumbles over his own feet. Coming out hard was Rintoul. Just flips the ball forward. Webb should come through on his left leg. He needs support.
Great
throws
tackle.
the ball out. Good pressure by the Eagles' defence.
Holland from the midfield. A high bomb towards half-forward. Burton's comes trashing out and couldn't quite take it under pressure from Cobb. 26 is Hutchins. Stephen Hutchins. Well, the kick wasn't good, was it? It opened the door for Pays, and Pays just came straight in.
Pays using his experience to full effect in this third quarter, playing as a loose player across half-back.
Leal on the left, heads forward. Now, I think they might have shifted Burton towards the midfield. Crawshay's down, he's holding his knee. Now, he has it heavily strapped, so that's bad news for the Panthers. Let's hope that's not serious for their big ruckman. Oh, and he stayed down too, he hasn't got up. Fernie marks. Oh, he doesn't look good. Now, Fernie just came off the interchange bench.
Should be able to kick this goal with the breeze strongly at his back.
Well, he's a powerful kick. He's 60 out with the breeze at his back, and he floats it up with the breeze. It's carrying, just short. Bailey over the top of it. Fitzgerald got quick the ball. That's a goal. And a very, very clever one. A very clever one. Well done, big Ryan Fitzgerald, and he's got 5. Well, they're shooting it out the big guns. Goal for goal. Kluzek has 6 at one end. Ryan Fitzgerald has 5 at the other.
Absolutely brilliant goal. I never say attitude. Fernie puts the ball in long. Up they go. Fitzgerald loses his feet, something which he does a little too often, but he's still in the contest, still prepared to have a crack at it, Mark.
Yeah, I think Crawshay may have just collected legs with Luke Norman. Both players were struggling after that last contest. And a couple of other games have been played around the state this afternoon. West Adelaide still hang on to a 23-point margin. At Ungley Oval, Sturt nearly up to 10 goals. Ball goes out. Genovese is in it. He backs himself. He goes around the players. Kicks it up now. Where's Fitzgerald? Bit of body pressure on there. Needs to go towards the boundary line to Fruin. And the umpire will run down. He's a good 60 metres behind, so we'll have to wait for this ball to be thrown in.
What a game this is. It's seesawed and a good crowd, grandstand side. Not many people on the outer side. But 10 points in favour of South Adelaide after the Eagles led by 3 points. And we're 18.5 minutes into the third quarter. Not much time for South. They'll need a couple more to be safe. Pesh couldn't quite get it out. 22 working hard was Fruin. Now it goes out to Palfreymoon, who hugs the boundary line. Brings it back inboard. There's a free kick for a Shepherd. And Crawshay the recipient. From left half forward, centres it up. Bailey and Fitzgerald, that's been a good battle. Fitzgerald emerging as the winner there. Pays, comes grandstand side. Cloesi fires out in front. Did very well, Michael Cloesi. Forward to Albert from Norman. Cloesi again taken. Pays, clever. Zilla. Norman, plenty of pressure. Webb did very well, forced the ball forward to Threadgold. Holland tried to tackle him, kicking in danger. No, said the umpire. Genovese, it is tough out there. Make no mistake, this is a rough one. Both sides will come off battered at the end of this, and I don't mean fish and chips battered, I mean bruised and battered. Burton, well, he tried to throw it onto the Burton, that was a throw. If he'd have connected, I think he would have been all right. But he missed, and it was a throw.
You've got to try anything in this game, don't you? And he had to. It's the only way he was facing. Look at it. That's desperation for you to keep the ball in that area. Johnson should mark this out in front.
Isn't he an improved player, Mark?
Yes, I haven't seen a great deal of him over the years, a couple of years, but Peter Johnson this year really has found some form at centre-half forward. He also does the forward ruck work for him. Fitzgerald from behind again. The big Fitzy pulls down another screamer.
That's a great grab. And the reason that ball ended up in that situation is, look at that athleticism. Pays, he's playing across half-back, David, but his use of the football has been, well, not as good today as it should be. And it's letting the opposition on the rebound right into keeping them in the game, in fact.
He prides himself, Andrew Pays, on his disposal. He's been pretty good, but it's a fair point that you made.
Well, that free kick that Burton was given against in his endeavours to throw the ball onto his boot, if the ball had been put out further in front of him,
he runs onto it.
He runs onto it. But it was a poor disposal.
Into the breeze, Kenny, is that being a bit harsh? It's been tough to deliver the ball into the breeze.
There's no doubting it's difficult to do, but when you're given that role, perhaps it might be Pyman or someone else with perhaps a better foot disposal that should be given that role. Colville.
Eagles have made another change. We'll cross down to Michael Parsons in just a moment.
So Fitzgerald will kick just inside of 50. With the breeze behind his back, he'll make the distance. He just allows for the breeze to take control of the football. It's done that. He is swamped by his teammates in appreciation of the great mark and also the goal that he's kicked. The Eagles just move out now, Ken, to a 16-point margin.
It's been a tremendous last 10 minutes
Well, that's his fourth for the quarter as well.
There's Bailey's gone from the ground.
So Fitzgerald kicks his sixth. He's now got number 39 and Scott Matthews. It's good to see Ian Perry back. A little bit of a treatment on that lip. As the ball is bounced, Crawshay, Wiggins have been at it all day. Both players have given their all for their sides. Johnson, who's done a lot of work up towards the middle of the ground, throws the ball out wide to Battams. Battams tries to back himself against Higgins. Bit of pressure here. It comes back to Wiggins. He goes over the top. Colville's got time now to take it. Weeds his way through a couple of players, gives it back to Higgins, up to Kluzek. And which player keeps his feet? It's Cobb. Needs to find the boundary line. You just know what Kluzek like to do. He's like to come back and kick a goal. He goes back to McClure. McClure's taken from behind. Some good work there by Battams. In there again is Kluzek.
Bounce.
And some great work by the Panthers defence.
As we go down to Michael Parsons on the boundary line.
And as a result of that last mark and goal from Fitzgerald, Scott Bailey's come off, finds himself on the bench, and Scott Matthews come on for his first run of the game. And I'm surprised to see that he's actually standing Fitzgerald, although it looks like the change has been made now at the other end of the ground.
Sometimes it's just a positional readjustment. Now the blood rule being enforced here. Battams comes off. Now, Ken, this is an important time for the Eagles.
Oh, they really do need a goal here from this situation. They've got time now to structure up, set it up. A bit of communication between the bloke that's going to tap the ball and the receiver, the rover, who might kick it himself or whip it out to a further running player. They just need a goal from this situation. They have to be desperate and keep the ball in their forward line here until they do score a goal late in this third quarter.
Great advertisement for junior football there. The trainer wearing gloves and pulls out the chucks. So maybe a sponsorship possibility there for the Chucks company, with the South Adelaide Football Club at least. Certainly cleans up a hell of a mess. Wiggins in ruck, Crawshay. Crawshay it was who wins the tap. It falls down, kick smothered, play on, said the umpire. Zilla goes to ground with Osborne in pursuit of him, and another bounce the result.
This is a great team contest here. The Eagles know that they must manufacture a goal. South desperate to prevent it.
Osborne takes it from the pack out to Genovese. Now a little speedster will go for it. He comes back inside. Can't see any movement up forward. He's got the running player in Talbot inside, which is a good handball. Finds Talbot. Now 2-on-1 here. Johnson in front. Couldn't be taken. Holland gives the ball up over the top. And what can the Eagles do? Good running by Fruin. Johnson's worked hard also. Hits the player after he's kicked it. A great mark there by Burton out in front.
It was a good kick. It was put out in front of Burton. He had two opponents, but he was able to run onto it, so therefore giving him the edge.
Cobb is playing in front now of Kluzak. Spoils to the boundary line.
The build-up was good, wasn't it? Burton came and presented himself on the leg, but the Burton kick really in the direction of Kluzak was very, very short. Needed to square it up a little bit. Crawshay wins this one. Quinn had it dispossessed by Colville. Webb over the top of it under pressure from Zilla. Tries to get the handball out. Quinn over the top. And McClure working hard for the Eagles. Holds the ball in the area. Well, he's not had a big day, James McClure, but he is a fighter. And he'll fight it right out to the end.
Yes, playing on the forward line. Probably been defeated by Clohessi in that area. Had a go on the ball also. Changing now with in the midfield with Zilla. And probably now running on the wing.
McClure up against Clohessi. He's only had the one kick for the afternoon. 6 handballs. The big men go at it again. Well read by Webb. Has kept control. Fed it off to Quinn. Now Quinn couldn't quite get the ball to bounce back up here at Woodville Oval. Gives it across to Mills. Kept control also beautifully. Great pick up by Luke Norman. Tries to find Webb again. Webb does look tired, but he's worked so hard today.
It's a difficult time in the game of football. We're in a time-on period in the third quarter. You're physically very drained, and we could see that there. There was 4 or 5 mistakes from the South Adelaide players when in possession.
4 goals this quarter to Ryan Fitzgerald really has set South Adelaide up. It's been a stellar performance by him. Pay's dragged off the ball. Mills over the top. Releases Pyman. He's running freely. Leal tries to run him down. Pyman drills it in short. Dropping back was Rentoul. The target was Fitzgerald. Second effort was good. Thread goal. Just thumps it towards the line. Keeps it in just, or does he? Yes, he does, says the umpire. Brings it back around. Mills and Smart was the target. But getting away is Higgins. Short. Now Pays, who's working himself into this game. Let's see what the disposal's like, Ken. And that one was much better, wasn't it?
Beautiful. Perfect disposal.
Right into the path of Burton, who's worried off it by Hutchins. Finally, it works out, and Pays claimed. Burton again comes. He's inside 50. Comes on the left over the top to Pyman. Pyman steadies, one step, bang, and it looks good. Pyman likes it. That's his 5th, Robert Pyman. Very good performance, 13 kicks and 5 goals.
Thank you, Benjamin Higgins, the Eagles. Number 5, he was the player on the burst that took the ball at half-back. The loose ball, he took it. Pays was the creator, the magic man. He made the space, used every bit of his experience to full advantage for his team, and then Burton with clever use of the ball over to the finisher in Pyman. But Pays then, his disposal out to Burton was perfect. Burton dropped that easy one, but Pays was there in numbers to butter up again.
Robert Pyman, 5 goals for the Eagles this afternoon. 27, nearly 28-minute mark of the third quarter. Again, Osborne comes through, throws the ball out. Number 13 there is Bevan, looking for his first touch. The free kick's given back to Pyman. Just elected to try to break through.
It's a big free kick to miss that one, isn't it? The one of the throw of Osborne.
Yes. Fitzgerald out front, 1 grab, 2 grabs, the 30 takes it finally. At the moment, we're seeing great effort by Fitzgerald up forward for the Panthers. And Burton taking some good grabs up forward for the Eagles. A couple of young talent running around the SANFL at the moment. 6 goals to Fitzgerald.
Will he kick it?
As the siren goes. He's within the distance.
Yeah, I think so. I think very capable, particularly with the confidence as it is.
Wade, he kicks it right on the 50 metres, puts it up nicely. It's a lovely kick. Another goal, so 5 for the quarter for Ryan Fitzgerald. That's his 67th for the afternoon. A great effort by the young fella, Ken. And that just extends the Panthers' lead now.
Well, we talked about a match-winning performance of Kluzek, who had 6 goals from 6 kicks. In the opening minutes of the third quarter, he'd accumulated those goals. But then it was Fitzgerald that took over and single-handedly has put the Panthers in the commanding position that they are now. To it's the biggest lead of the game. In my recollection, in a game where the lead has changed many, many times, Osborne just continues to accumulate possessions in the midfield, in the forward line, or indeed crucial possessions from pack situations in defence. He has been absolutely fantastic, and assisted equally by Trent Mills, who finished with a great left foot goal from the crumb in that quarter. Been very, very good player for them, along with Nathan Genovese. Perry has been good at centre-half back, although I think was probably clearly beaten in that quarter by Burton, who was one of the key forwards, along with Kluzek and Pyman for the Eagles.
The 3/4 time score here. Eagles are 12 goals to 74. They still trail South Adelaide on 14 goals, 690. And you're sitting at home nice and warm, I hope, watching it live and exclusive to ABC Sport.
Channel 2? No, Channel 2.
Oh, you idiot. Ready?
Yeah.
Channel 2, we're for you.
Well, if you just watched our ABC promo there, I guess you know who our 3/4 time promo is, our profile is this afternoon. It's 2 characters from Pantherland, Nathan Genovese and Dean Talbot.
Hi, my name's Nathan Genovese. I'm aged 22. I'm 178 centimetres and weigh 78 kilograms.
My name is Dean Talbot. The nickname is Talby. I'm 23 years of age. My height is 195 and my weight is 90 kilos.
Before I joined South Adelaide Footy Club, I played for Wollonga Football Club, and I've played there for 3 years and won 3 premierships.
I played for Fitzroy in Melbourne, then I went to Perth and I played for East Perth for a year, and then got drafted back to Geelong, and now I've come to South Adelaide.
The first football game was for Antonio Ants at Antonio Primary School, and I played with Greg Osborne and Andrew Osborne at one stage in the year.
I don't remember my first game exactly. I remember my first year, and it was pretty interesting. I had no idea what I was doing. It was in under 10s.
Well, I haven't come across any bad points yet. He's been very good to me. I've known him for a long time, since the juniors and under 17s, and he's very supportive of me, and he's always trying to help me with my perseverance.
He's a very good talker, very good motivator for the players.
At Wollonga Football Club, obviously with my 3 premierships there, and in 1994 with South Adelaide, I won a premiership in the under-19s level.
Winning the best and fairest at East Perth in 1994.
I work at Men's Plastics out in the roofing shed. So if you need got a roofing sale at the moment, if you need any cheap roofing, come and see me.
Bank officer with the National Australia Bank.
Pretty tough question. I'd like to obviously win a premiership for South Adelaide Football Club, which is a very big thing for me. Also, I'd love to maybe be able to play AFL. Whether I do or not is another thing.
Ultimate football would be to play in some sort of premiership, I guess.
Dean Talbot with the National Bank. If anyone's looking for some money, go and see Dean, and if you want some roofing, you go and see Nathan Genovese. I'm sure the boys will look after you. Well, 7 goals in the match to Ryan Fitzgerald really stamps you as a player of some great quality. Matthew Kluzek has 6. They shot it out in the 3rd quarter as Mark Nailey and Ken Sheldon walk us through the highlights, fellas. There were some great passages of play.
That's Kluzek, that was an excellent goal on the run, just showing all the skills there, the banana kick. He's been very, very good up forward. And there's Burton, he come alive in that 3rd quarter. Pelfreyman had a good duel in the centre with Mills. It's a 1 goal apiece they've got running into their forward lines, and they've been thereabouts all day. Pyman, he's been good, Mark.
Yes, he has, and he gets around those goals. He knows how to find them. We can see here around his body. He kicked 2 for the quarter. That's the first one. No doubt we will see the second. Andrew Osmond, the captain for the Panthers, puts it high. There we are, front and centre. Little scratcher Mills. Left foot goal.
The athleticism here of Fitzgerald, one of his 7 goals, and there's been they've come from all sorts of angles, and look at that for a mark. Tremendous mark, David.
And he went back and put that through. He finished with 5 for the quarter and 7 so far in this match. An outstanding effort. As we go down to Michael Parsons, Ken Applegarth, I think would be happy at 3/4 time with the lead he enjoys.
I would say he's happy as well, David. He's got a very structured game plan. Wants to take Pesh and Pays out of the game. He's got a couple of dedicated taggers to go on them. Will leave Mills and Osmond to run free. Wants Fitzgerald to play up the ground, the whole forward line to push up the ground, and then once the contest goes to Fitzgerald, wants those smaller players to get back in and under and try and get the scores on the board that way. Mark Micken, aware of the breeze, wants his players to go longer this time, go long with the breeze and get the contest in the forward line. Wants Kluzek to continue with the good form and supply the goals, and he just really stressed again the importance of getting a win here for the Eagles as far as the rest of their season is concerned.
Michael, before you disappear, would I be right to say that that breeze has dropped slightly?
It has, just right now, David, has dropped remarkably. It's almost still now, but as I speak, another puff's coming through, but I'd say it is dropping off, so my weather predictions at the start of the game weren't too flash, were they?
Thanks, Michael. As we go to the 3/4 time scoreboard, it shows the Eagles sitting on 12 goals 2, South Adelaide 14 goals 6, a 16-point margin in favour of South Adelaide. Goals 6 to Kluzek, 5 to Pyman and 7 to Fitzgerald. The highlights so far in this match, and statistically not much in it. The Eagles at 132, South at 124. Not much in the marks or the handballs, certainly not the frees, but have a look at the hit-outs where Crawshay has done a great job for South Adelaide. And in other matches around town this afternoon, it's West Adelaide and North at Richmond Oval, with West Adelaide 15-9 leading North 7 goals 8. A 49-point margin there, and it's Sturt and only a progressive score just before 3/4 time. It's 15 goals 7 Sturt and Glenelg 4 goals 3. I think the Double Blues have got that match. So stay with us live until 5. We'll bring you the final term. A tight one at Woodville Oval. The Eagles trailing by 16 points, but have the breeze. Your commentator, Mark Nailey.
The balls bounce. Anticipation in this last quarter is just going to be hot. It is going to be exciting. Player coming through, taken high. Trying to pick him up. It's the power from him, I think it is. He goes direct. Burton's there in front, takes the grab.
Now we've seen him against Sturt kick a number of goals with this sort of breeze behind him from this distance and even further. 4 goals from memories he kicked, Mark, and they were just team lifting goals when they were really coming from a long way behind. So accuracy here will be vital for the confidence of his team.
This could be a great start for the boys with the Eagle jumpers. He's got it on its way. Is he controlled enough? I think he has. The Eagle flags are going. Yes, the 2 fingers are up. Great start by the Eagles.
It's just what you need. Coach Mark Micken now would be he'd be just wrapped with it. Seconds into the last quarter, coming from behind, they've narrowed the gap immediately to 10 points. What a start. Confidence with centre-half forward featuring. He really has lifted since half-time, David, and will have a big influence if he is to continue to run and create a focal point for them.
Well, he's running around, and I think that's his forte, isn't it? 10 points the margin in favour of South Adelaide. A minute and a half into the final term. Mark Nayley gets a chance of double or nothing if you want, Mark. Osborne misses. Pesh on the left. Delivers it down to Burton. One-handed attempt. Couldn't quite control it. Driving it towards the boundary line was Stephen Hutchins. And very successful. He was good last week at Norwood, wasn't he, Ken? I thought he was tough, but he's done a negating job today. Only 3 kicks, or 4 kicks now, with that last stat. But he hasn't been the attacking player that he was last week.
I agree with you, but he was very effective last week, as indeed he has been this week again.
Ball to ground.
A lot of faith was shown in him, I think, by the South Adelaide coach and match committee, and they left him there, and in the end, I think, well, they won the game. So, dour defender, we'd describe him, wouldn't we?
Dour?
It's high. Crawshay again gets another tap. Colville's in there also with Osborne. Just waiting now for the ball to be thrown in. Defensive tactics need to be shown by both sides now. The Eagles still down by 10 points, kicking with a fairly solid breeze. As we've seen for most of the day, fellas, you can kick against it, and goals have been scored.
I thought for a moment, Ken, that the breeze had dropped, but it seems we've just got a little bit of kick in it again.
It's booted up again now.
So I think it'll depend on whether the Eagles can use it and how South Adelaide go in terms of playing the boundary line. You can almost guarantee they'll run it either side of the ground right along the boundary line and won't open up the middle of the field for the Eagles. There's Mark Micken. Most people, I think, are pretty happy that he's doing a good job with the Eagles in his first year. Most first-year coaches get better. That's the accepted rule. And if he gets better than what he's done this year, I think he'll be a top coach. It's been well accepted by the club, and even though they're struggling, I think they're getting a little bit more cohesion about them at the moment. Zilla forward, Colville held his line beautifully. Ken
Terrific
Sheldon
courage.
like that.
Brilliant. Match-winning stuff. That is an unbelievable commitment there. A terrific commitment.
Well, he's never lacked courage, Gavin Colville, at all. And sometimes to his, it's been a problem for him.
Yeah, and that's right. And considering here at the opposite flank here in the last quarter, he copped a very heavy hip and shoulder from Simon Quinn. Fair and legitimate, but it would have shaken him up a bit, so he's recovered well.
64 games for Gavin Colville in that time. He's kicked 43 goals. This one, probably one of the most important of a short career. 48 out, 50 out, and heads towards goals. The goal umpire has the gallop, gets right on the line in good position. Colville likes it, he kicks it, and the Eagles come back within 4 points.
Every now and again you see something special in football, and like that was just a great mark. It doesn't look as hard as it was actually on the replay, but he just made something from nothing there, did Colville. Ziller it was who got the ball out of the pack. Pyman was in there harassing as well, so the better players coming to the fore for the Eagles.
As the pendulum swings towards the Eagles' way, Crawshay again. It's taken.
The Eagles have tied Osborne up a lot in this situation. Like Crawshay has just fed him all day, and Osborne has been magnificent. Probably the best player on the ground, but the Eagles now are really, they're tidying him up when he's getting possession.
Ball's kicked forward, another chance. Going to go forward. Good mark taken by Hutchins.
It's not a bad matchup, that, is it?
Well, he came on when Perry went off in the blood rule. Coach Ken Applegarth decided to keep him there. Burton's kick one this quarter. Now back with Genovese. Comes across to Talbot, just holding possession at the moment, the Panthers. Which way will Talbot go? Should keep it wide. Osborne, fellas, statistically had 19 up there. It's a three-quarter time. So once again, he's had a good game as a free kick's been given. Back to Fitzgerald. A little bit of work done off the ball.
It's much to like about his game too, Mark, isn't there?
Well, we have to say 7 goals up to this stage of the game, which really is good. Crawshay's worked hard to get down there. The Eagles again. This is Zilla. Just chips the ball out. Needs the running Holland. Will get onto it, picks it up beautifully. Will go around Fitzgerald. He backs himself, comes back inside. He's got players there, but he wishes to use them. He doesn't. Goes again, and Hudson takes another safe mark.
Reading the ball well.
Controls the area pretty well. So does this fellow, Fitzgerald. Now there'd be 3 or 4 AFL scouts here having a good look at him today. We saw a couple, Ken, as we came in and said hello to them. Genovese.
Be a few requests for this tape too, I would think.
I guess. See the strengths and the weaknesses. Talbot. And just no penetration in the kick. So Rintoul feeds it back, and the Eagles get a chance just to start some run. Rogers provides it, just the space, grandstand side. Now they can go right down the centre, but there's no leads forthcoming. Where are the big blokes? Benny Higgins left to take one short. Over the top is Brent Fruin. 25-year-old in his 8th game. He's certainly made an impact today. A long bomb, not much of a kick, a bit of a scrubber, in fact. Forward, where's Colville? The back of the pack, loose ball. McClure just dragged off it by Genovese. The will of Genovese was terrific. Norman thumps it forward. This is good work in defence for South Adelaide. They're working hard over the top of the ball. It was Cloesy, the final player it was, who finished up with it, but Colville wrapped him up, and Pays just gift-wrapped him.
Tremendous aggression. Pesh.
Rocky Zapier coming on, Nick Pesh off. Tough day at the office for Nick.
Down the ground once again. Talbot's in there, just keeps hold of the football, tucks it under his arm. As we see another ball up and down the boundary line, some changes being made. Michael Parsons.
The change is because Nick Pesh has done his hamstring. That's not a good sign for the Eagles at all.
No, not a good sign for the Eagles supporters, seeing one of their star players, and also another favourite for this year's McGarry medal in Nicholas Pesh. Burton, good work by Hutchins to keep it down. Cobb's in there as well. He goes for the boundary line. What can Cobb do? He's got to play it forward. Doesn't go that way. The Eagles keep it alive. Hutchins is in there as well. They just need to have it get control. The right bounce. Cobb again's in there. Osborne on his hands and knees dives over the football. McClure there as well. Some desperation. Once again, shown by both sides.
Up by Colin Rouston, bounces it. Wiggins was up early. Rouston was right on the job and picked out the free. Crawshay will take it deep in the back pocket for South Adelaide. As the knee heavily strapped, the thigh heavily strapped. Perry warming up along with Thurney on the boundary line, so they're big guns preparing to come back on. Wiggins, high, couldn't complete it. Webb over the top of it, overran it in fact. Colville just claimed in the finish by Norman. He's a real terrier, Norman. Finally, loose ball falls to Zilla. He pirouettes out of trouble. That was brilliant. Yep, Ken, you like that. Rogers to the square. It'll result in a goal because Burton, I thought he was going to mark it easily. Crawshay takes it, handballs to the back door. Hutchins across the line. Not deliberate, says the umpire. And Cobb is down in the hands of the trainers.
It's the balance here of... That's unreal, isn't it, eh? Terrific from Zilla.
Well, they got a boot in the side of the face, Cobb, as Burton took off.
The Panthers one player down. Cobb needs to get to his feet. He does now, just holding the side of his neck. The young up-and-coming players there. For both Adelaide and also for South Adelaide. Webb sticks to the safety of the boundary line. Fitzgerald dives at it. In there is also his bet, and Fitzgerald handballs the ball to the line and sees it out.
Very smart play by Fitzgerald. That's what I like. We like a lot of things about this young player, but one of the things there, he went for the mark. He couldn't quite take it cleanly, but was prepared to still get his body in around the ball and was able to gain possession again with a second effort.
Oh, Genovese, great commitment at the football.
He had no right to get there, you know. He really was 2-on-1. I thought the Eagles were going to run away with it, but he just made the important hand on the ball.
Seen him a couple of times this year, Genovese. Bit untidy, but when he gets hold of the football, but gee, he touches it a few times in the game. Osmond tackled quickly. Bevan comes up with a quick handball across to Norman, and Norman runs it down. Smart's going to be in trouble. It's collected. It intelligently kicks the ball forward. Fernie has come on. We may need to pick up which player has come off.
Probably close to out in the full. How's that one?
Already across the line, fair enough though. Right to ask the question, Ken. We're always testing the limits. Palfreyman from Zilla, around the corner to McClure. Now hasn't Closey done a great job there today? He has been tough. So too's Norman. Their defensive zone has been great, South Adelaide. And Webb to the line had no other choice. It's hotting up here. Stay with us till 5. We're 11.5 minutes into the final quarter. It's 86 plays 90. 4 points in favour of South Adelaide. The Eagles with the breeze, and South Adelaide working very hard just to get another couple. Genovese over the top with the kick, goes in the direction of Norman. He works hard to get under it. Just got the fingertips to it in the finish. He's run down by Rentoul, gets it over the top to Talbot. Talbot in turn has Genovese running through the midfield. They're building nicely, South Adelaide. A high ball to full forward. Fitzgerald's big fly, couldn't quite take it. At the back was Fernie. Now an opportunity for Fruin to get it out the back door. They work it out pretty well, the Eagles. Higgins over the top of it, ran into by Bevan. And now it stacks on the mill. The umpire forced to bounce.
The desperation by both sides can only be admired. Tactically, Mark Micken running his ruckman on the half-forward flank at the moment, forcing Simon Crawshay out of the forward area, leaving it very, very open for Kluzek, one-on-one with Cobb. A good tactical coaching move.
This is a great contest, a great game of football.
It must be said, Mark, too. Ken just touched on it then. I think tactically, both coaches today have done a terrific job.
It's been great.
Try to get the upper hand. South trying to get into the 5. Eagles just trying to hang on to that to keep within touch of the 5. Now, chance here for the Eagles as they go forward. They've got 3-on-1. Mormon comes across. He goes to the sides and go for the boot the ball, does Higgins. Palmer from behind nearly takes a mark. Sensational grab. Crawshay behind. Pyman's there as well. Good pressure by both. Quinn thumps the ball forward, only as far as Wiggins. Wiggins goes back trying to find McClure. McClure Hesse sees the ball over the line.
Well, Pyman come up properly too, Kenny. Gee, it was a great attempt, wasn't it? Great lunge at that ball.
Well, great players can just do the extra thing in these situations. He shouldn't have got possession of that football, but he did.
It's like Genovese before. They're just tight games create great players, don't they?
They do.
Or great players respond. We've seen a couple of examples of it. Benny Higgins with 19 possessions. He's been high amongst the Eagles' best. Been a good battle with Webb today. A tough one for both players. Osborne, another kick along the boundary line, doing it pretty well. Good work, Hodgson. Zilla in turn. Palfreyman, good hands. Hodgson, a long bomb, who wants it back there for the Eagles. It falls. Burton roves it beautifully. Feeds it back. Rocky Zapier, welcome back, Rocky. We last saw him kick 4 goals in the opening quarter against Sturt here, and then went off. And look at that. Hutchins relieves the pressure beautifully. Speeding away as Pyman did it pretty well and goes to the boundary line. Safety first, not a bad rule.
Zapier.
Now, when do we see Zapier kick those goals? Against West Adelaide it was, not Sturt. And he was stiff that day. I think he had 4 goals in the first 20 minutes and went off with a knee injury.
Ball's thrown in. Again, we see Rogers going for the ruck. Johnson's in there as well. Genovese dives over the top of the ball.
Been a long time since a goal's been scored. Great pressure by both sides.
2 scoring shots this quarter, Ken. 2 shots only, so it has been tight.
Yeah, and the first 3 quarters were very free-flowing. The lead changed many, many times. We've seen some really good goals, a mixed bag, but this quarter it's really tightened up.
Ball brought to ground by Crawshay. Colville's in there. Zilla will be taken by Mills. Quickly gives the ball back. Very good in tight. And which way will the ball bounce here? Cobb kept control of it. Also in there is Wiggins. Crawshay dives on top. The ball's popped out. A chance here for Kluzek. What can he do? He's around his body. Has he got it home? I think he has.
7 from 7.
Well done with the big ruckman. Well done, Wiggins. He was the player that was able to keep that loose ball in the forward line, eventually finding the free Kluzek, who finished with a special goal again, showing a great array of skills, isn't he, today? Like, just goals from all sorts of angles. It hasn't worried him. He's been tremendous.
Now he's 25 years of age. I think a couple of AFL clubs would even still have a look at him. The way he's been going in this competition, he's tearing them apart, and he'd certainly make a good Winston Abraham type player. In other matches, one of them, West Adelaide, is over 10 goals clear of North Adelaide at Richmond Oval. So great result for West Adelaide. North Adelaide continue to be in the doldrums. 13 is Jason Bevan, the 20-year-old, in his second game. Well, there's a bit of pressure on him, isn't there? Delivers it up forward. Talbot couldn't complete it. 39 was Scotty Matthews, who's got the job on Fitzgerald. McClure handballs over the top. Higgins is running, delivers a high ball. It was a wayward kick, really a wasted kick in the finish.
That's right. Wasted kick is the way to call it. Others would say disgraceful and all the rest, but it was wasted.
Well, you've got to hold the ball until there's a target, don't you? I mean, that's the rule. And in the finish, he just popped it up where there was no one. So Crawshay goes forward. Fitzgerald was the target there. Well done, Holland. Just holds the ball in the area. And Scotty Matthews comes in and holds it in again.
I like Holland. He's been good today at half-back. He's been very good. He's been, apart from probably 10 minutes where Threadgold really cut him up, I think he's done a very, very good job.
Ball's bounced. Remember, Stan Webb crashes through. Can't get his boot to ball. Zilla does. Unfortunately, couldn't do it, execute it before. The ball went out over the line.
So the ball comes back in. Rogers opposed to Johnston. Now, they'd be two of the shortest ruckmen you'll see, and they've done it nearly all day. As the ball's come into the South Adelaide forward line, Johnston's done all the rock work, and Rogers has gone with him. Genovese over the top comes Palfreyman. The crowd calls for a free kick. The umpires have been consistent in that all day, and there's not one there for young Nathan Genovese. We are 18 minutes gone in the final term. It's a 2-point ball game. The Eagles, after trailing by 16 points at three-quarter time, have kicked 3 straight this term to really put themselves in a position where they can win. But South Adelaide have shown great character this year, and this really has lived up to the expectation of game of the day.
It's been an excellent game. 15 goals, 2 the Eagles have kicked. Rarely would you see a scoreline like that.
That's a fair point.
The ball's up by Osborne. Chance here from Talbot. Also throw by. It was too by Fitzgerald. Oh, some Zappia's in there. He throws the ball to ground. We're umpiring, we're calling it. We've also the local medicos.
Oh, dear me.
Oh.
Well, ask you, Ken, is this a throw? Whoop, yep, it's a throw. Yeah, Mark Naley didn't think so. He wants the money today.
Ball bounce, 20 metres out. The Panthers' goal. Chance there, Fernie over the top. Who's back there? The mark should have been paid, it wasn't. Fair bit of interference by Bantams. They're going for the safety of the boundary line. The Eagles' defence. The ball will be thrown in. The Eagles supporters aren't happy behind the goals.
Tell you what, there's some South Adelaide fans have found some voice out there, Ken.
He's very vocal. And so they should be. Like, they're kicking against the breeze. They're against the odds here to win this game, but they still can win it, of course, with such a scoreline.
Oh, Osborne did well to get through. Leal got away the kick under pressure. Trent Mills had a snap for goal. Now Fernie over the shoulder. What's it going to be? It's an up and under kick. Didn't even get there. Thumped across the line in the finish. And Leal quite content to carry it across. Well, this is a nail-biter.
It's just great pressure by the Eagles defence. On 3 occasions, the Panthers had opportunity to goal, but couldn't get a clear kick away.
Over 20 minutes gone, the ball in the South Adelaide forward zone from behind Talbot, but Johnson it was who wins it. Hodgson gets the kick away, relieves a little bit of pressure for the Eagles. It's running beautifully, running onto it. McClure, that was intelligent, very intelligent. Burton keeps it in just inside the line, delivers it up, out comes the lead, it's Pyman. Used his body beautifully, held the ball, went to ground, controlled it, flicked it out the back door. Well done, Pyman. Rintoul gets away the handball. The umpires say, play on, and Cobb across the line. That's tough.
One at each end, Nails. A throw at one for Fitzgerald, and certainly a scoop at least. You'd have to call it a throw, wouldn't you, by Pyman out the back door there?
Well, there's a couple there. Still let the game flow. Can't argue too much. At this stage of the game, you'd love to see this sort of umpiring. The ball's flicked forward. We don't want to see the soft free kicks. Ziller sets it up. Chance here for Burton in front. Take it and we'll kick a goal. He plays on. Mistake there by Burton. Thought he had more time and space. And the ball goes from, looks like Hutchins to the boundary line. Burton, a good grab, and all of a sudden hit the ground, decided to run off.
A rush of adrenaline.
It's high. Ziller has been outstanding this last quarter. Some great possessions. Some great work in tight. The ball goes over the top. Norman will take on Higgins. So will Webb. Comes out wide to Rintoul. He comes around. This ball can end up anywhere. It does, and Matthew Bannister's arms. So South needs an extra lift. They want to score a goal before the game's out. Fitzgerald over the top. Couldn't quite get there. Handball to Rintoul. Norman takes it on Rintoul. The Eagles player taken high. Possibly a free kick should have been given. The umpire really are letting this game flow.
It's good. It's some good, tough stuff. Terrific football. Pelfreyman cramping there. He's run himself ragged into the ground. Had a great duel with Trent Mills in the centre.
So at the bounce, Crawshay pushed off it by Wiggins. Crawshay still wins it. It goes down the throat of Poesy. Now there's a player with cramp, Ken. You might pick up who that is for us.
Yes, Pelfreyman, Nigel Pelfreyman.
And you talked about his fitness earlier. Well, there's a little bit of evidence. 25 kicks, though, not a bad result.
25 possessions, had a good game. A great duel with Mills.
So Webb feeds it out in the direction of Mills. He can run onto it. Now look at South Adelaide running. They're fanning out like mice. Johnson was the target over that player's head. Talbot couldn't take it. Rogers gets the kick away under pressure, but did it pretty well in the final analysis. Now the runners. This is Rintoul. Grandstand wing to half forward goes the kick, and Cobb. Courageous mark, good courage. Did it pretty well. The kick comes back. Fitzgerald from behind flies. Crawshay measures the kick. Genovese 60 out at half forward. Under pressure, dispatches the kick towards full forward. Man on man. Talbot took front position. Play on, said the umpire. Holland's there. Working hard under it was Fruin for the Eagles. And Pelfreyman on the bench for the Eagles. Well, this is a game and a half. It's lived up to the hype. An important one for South Adelaide. A win here, and they challenge for a final 5 spot. The Eagles, if they lose, cannot make the finals mathematically. The stakes are high, and Rocky Zappia gets a free in defence for the Eagles. To the outer side. The kick finds McClure, who's worked his way courageously into this game. Started slowly, but doing well now. Threadgold thumps it down. Mills dragged off it by McClure. Play on, said the umpire. Pays. There's a free kick, and it comes back. Whenever you're ready, Mark.
Yes, David. I just can't believe the game of football that we were seeing here this afternoon. It's had everything that you expect from a game of football. Players have given absolutely everything out there this afternoon with the big build-up to this last quarter, and hasn't let us down. Mike Parson, I know you're pretty excited.
I am pretty excited. There's pressure down here everywhere. Pressure on the coaches, pressure on the runners. The runners had a bit of a skirmish on the boundary line. Pressure on the umpires, and while it's all going on, a couple of interchanges. Badham's come off with a blood nose again, Threadgold back on, and Pelfreyman went off for the Eagles to be replaced by Filippo.
The ball sees the safety of the boundary line. through captain Andrew Rogers. So the Panthers, a 25-minute mark into this last quarter. They need to go forward once again.
2 points the margin. The Eagles hold the advantage. It's been a tough day at the office for all players. It's been very cold and windy at Woodville Oval. Zilla, playing by Smart, goes to ground. Oh, spear tackle. Bevan tried to crash through. Colville gets the handball out to Rocky Zapier, but Zapier not released by the umpire. Now this is tough. Have a look at this, Ken.
Bit of commitment from players. Almost holding the ball there, but just nothing but the ball in their minds. Great courage. Soaking up the time, the Eagles. You wonder how long this quarter will go with only a couple of goals being kicked. Very few scorings.
Nearly 26-minute mark. As Ken Sheldon said, there can't be much time. As we hear the final siren here at Woodville Oval, the Eagles have got up. The final margin, the Eagles 15 goals to 92 have defeated the Panthers 14 goals 6-90. They keep their finals 5 hopes alive.
South Adelaide play West Adelaide Friday night at Norwood Oval. What a match that's going to be now as South and West fight it out. Another 4-point game for both sides.
You see, double bonus games, aren't they? Like, they're just so vital. You've got to win them. The South Adelaide, you know, they could, I guess, classify themselves a little unlucky here today. The scoreline there of the Eagles 15-2, but if you get good enough to say poor kicking's poor football, you've got to be good enough to say that accurate kicking is brilliant football. 15 goals, 2 has won it for the Eagles. Kluzek kicked 7 of those. Pyman kicked 5. And he was a magnificent performer. And we'll go down to Michael Parsons on the boundary line.
Yeah, and with me, Nick, you ended the game on the bench, a bit of a hamstring strain?
Yeah, my hammy, I just jagged my hammy in the last little bit, but my game today, I probably should have stayed on the bench.
But a great win from the fellas. It really does give you a bit of still a look into your season.
Oh, definitely. We have to win today, and we did, and we have a week off next week, and I think we played Port at Albion, which will be a big game, and you know, hopefully for us to make the finals, we've got to keep winning and just take one game at a time.
And any particular build-up for this game, because your teammates were at it all day?
Nah, nothing extra special. I suppose after you lose the last few games, the morale was down a little bit, and we just stuck at our guns a bit and kept thinking if we crash in and keep working our butts off, that eventually it will turn. And to their credit today, we just got over the line.
All right, Nick, thanks very much.
No worries.
Thanks, David.
Thank you, Michael Parsons. Nick Pesh there with Michael Parsons. Ken Sheldon, the Eagles didn't kick a point after about the 20-minute mark of the first quarter. Remarkably accurate kicking has resulted in a win.
It's one of the real highlights of the game. One of the real highlights was the performance of that fellow too in Zilla. But Pyman and Kluzek were the difference.
Well, who were your best on the ground, Ken? Give us your best half a dozen.
Well, certainly for the losing side, Osborne the best player for them, along with Fitzgerald with his 7 goals. They were brilliant, along with Genovese, Badams, Norman across half-back, Johnson, and I thought Webb also was very good, along with Perry, until I thought he was chopped up a bit in the third quarter by Burton, who on the bottom end of the best for the Eagles, with along with Rintoul, Holland, Pelfrey and Hodgson. And I thought their best 2 were Kluzek and the best player on the ground, Pyman, as we go to the scoreboard.
Clear comment, Ken Sheldon. The Eagles 15-2, as I said. They didn't kick a point since midway through the first quarter. To be 15-2, remarkably accurate kicking. South Adelaide were 14-6 as we go back down to Michael Parsons.
And with me, the victorious coach, Mark Mecken. Mark, that would be a great win for you.
Yeah, it was, one against the tide, really. We've been really struggling, but the players just really focused mentally today, and we're really conscious of just playing at the best of their ability, and that's all I asked for them before the start of the game, and they just committed to that, and we set some disciplines in place that they really stuck to for the whole game, and it served them well in the end, and we beat a good opposition.
And on a day where there was a fair bit of wind around, your conversion rate was fantastic from the forward line, guys.
Yeah, which has also been against the tide a bit, because we've kicked a lot of points in recent weeks, and it was good to see that we made the most of opportunities.
And your guys around the ball, Big Wiggins, I thought competed well, and your on-ball players played a particularly good game.
I think that was the word, compete. We've just got a competition from everyone, and when we get that, we're always a chance. We've just been lacking a little bit of competitiveness lately, and today we really did compete very well.
And there's a real good buzz coming out of that change room now. It must mean a lot to the club to actually get a win after a few losses in a row.
It means everything, because before today, we were looking down the barrel, and we still are in a lot of ways. We still need to keep winning, but we're hanging in there.
And where do you see the Eagles going from now towards the end of the season, Mark?
Well, we'll get the bye, and then we'll get a chance to recover. It's been a pretty hectic year for a few players, and they can rest. And then we've just got to get back on track with a real intense preparation for the last 4 games.
And Nick Pesh has come off the ground with an injury. That would be a bit of a worry for you?
Yeah, we'll have to get that checked out. I'm not sure exactly what the problem is, but he gets a rest of 2 weeks, so hopefully we can get him back for the next game.
OK, Rodders, thanks very much and go and enjoy. Thanks, David.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks to Mark Mick and the Eagles coach. Victoria's today, their first win since round 14. And there's the goal kickers. Ken Kluzek with 7 was quite exceptional, as was Ryan Fitzgerald with 7 for South Adelaide.
He's both playing his key roles in the forward line. I'm shivering and shivering and shivering here today. But I gave the best player on the ground. Whichever team won, it would have been Pyman for the Eagles, it would have been Osborne for the Panthers. But the Eagles won the game. I think 3 votes to Pyman. He kicked 5 and was very creative in a number of others. I thought he was, along with Kluzek, they were sensational up forward. Whilst, as we mentioned, Fitzgerald and Osborne the best for South.
Well, David, just to see the stats there, I mean, it's fairly close once again. Just the indication of just how close this game was. Handballs, I mean, only 2 in it after that period of time. Marks were very even. Kicks, I mean, there's only 7 kicks in that. Hit-outs favour the Panthers with Big Crawshay well on top. Freeze favouring the Panthers. Just individually, I mean, Zilla today had a fantastic, had 10 kicks, 16 handballs, 26 possessions. Palfreman, after he came back on, 25, he had 15 kicks and 10. Rintoul had 24 and Higgins had 22. Kluzek with 7 goals from 7 kicks. And for the Panthers, Will Osborne, outstanding effort once again. 33 possessions with 22 kicks and 11 handballs. Young Genovese, a little redhead with a long sleeve jumper on today. 23 possessions, had 9 kicks and 14 handballs. And Fitzgerald, 18 for the afternoon from centre half forward with 7 goals. A great individual effort there with 10 kicks and 8 marks. And also with young Mills, tried so hard all day. He had 20 possessions, he had 13 kicks and 7 handballs.
Thanks for that, Mark Nailey. Kid, an interesting game, wasn't it? A game where either side could have won at any time. I thought first quarter South Adelaide did very well, but the Eagles fought back. It was a tough day.
The Eagles fought back towards the latter part of the first quarter, kicking 3 goals in succession through Kluzek and Pyman combining well in full forward. They kept them in the game. In the end, it was Kluzek's brilliance that just, well, 7 kicks from 7 goals. You know, that's a great effort.
Puts a bit of interest into the back end of the ladder now, as 3 sides contest for 5th spot with South Adelaide, the Eagles, and it's just West Adelaide or Central vulnerable.
And everybody also that watched this game here today, live and on TV, they'll go away thinking it is, look, what a great standard of game it was. So it creates a lot of interest in itself. A very high standard of football here today, which had a bit of everything.
Bearing in the other matches around town too, in round 18, West Adelaide and North Adelaide. That's a progressive score in that match, final score in the West Adelaide-North Adelaide match, and a progressive in the Sturt-Glenelg game. But I think we know who's going to win both of those games. Tomorrow, Norwood and Central at Norwood. Port, of course, have the bye. Last night in the AFL, the Western Bulldogs gave a hiding to Collingwood. A great second quarter where they kicked 8 goals to set up a big win over the Magpies. Today, Sydney and Geelong, and a big win to Sydney at Cardinia Park. I don't think they've done that for a long time. And, of course, Melbourne and the Brisbane Lions. Well, look at that. Melbourne continue on their winning way. North Melbourne at Manuka Oval in the ACT today. Big winners over Port Adelaide after being only 12 points down, Port Adelaide, late in the third quarter. And a big Winston Abraham mark has ignited North Melbourne to a big win. Tonight at 8 o'clock at Football Park, Adelaide Crows fans will be down there urging their side to a win over St Kilda. Tomorrow it's Essendon Carlton, a blockbuster at the MCG. Hawthorn and Richmond at Wavy, that will test the crowd there. And West Coast and Fremantle at Subiaco in the local derby. And West Coast have never been beaten by Fremantle in local matches.
Won't be the same this time tomorrow evening.
You reckon they'll win? OK, fair enough. Well, next week it's South Adelaide and West Adelaide at Norwood Oval. What a dimension that game now has, with South Adelaide losing today, West Adelaide winning. And next week it's Port and Central, Sturt and Norwood. Now that is the game of the day, Sturt and Norwood at Adelaide Oval. I'll certainly be looking forward to that.
Tremendous spectacle that will be, the top side versus last year's premiers at the Adelaide Oval. Magnificent.
OK, Ken, I'm looking forward to that too. Just a quick one, the Rugby League has tested all the AFL all the NRL players at a cost of $250,000. Do you think we'll see anything like that in the near future in the AFL?
Well, I think it's possibly that it has to be when you consider the Tour de France as they're testing their players left, right and centre. Like it's just part of the international thing at the moment where drugs are really being seriously, like they're just not going to be, they're not going to tolerate them in sport. So I would think you'd see the AFL having to spend that money.
Michael Parsons, interesting logistical exercise to drug test all AFL footballers. Do we perhaps extend that to SANFL footballers?
I guess when it comes down, it depends how far, which level you want to go to, David, but it is an expense to test for drugs, and I guess that would be a consideration. But you're right, there's a big focus on drugs in sport at the moment, and you really just wonder where it's going to. With more and more new drugs coming on the scene, then you wonder how many of those drugs are going to go on the banned list. We heard earlier in the week when Mr. Juan Samaranch, or whatever his name is, from the Olympic Committee, said that he thought maybe they should take a look at the number of drugs that are on the banned list. Yes, continue to be very hard on them, but some of the drugs such as, well, I guess caffeine's a reasonable example. I mean, where do you draw the line of what's a performance-enhancing drug these days?
All right, Michael, we're going for a coffee. I think we'll get our caffeine, Ken. Don't forget, if you want a video of today's match, the SANFL Match of the Day at all ABC shops. The SANFL Match of the Day, $34.95. And it's thanks to Ken Sheldon, Mark Nayley and Michael Parsons. We'll see you at Adelaide Oval next Saturday, 2 o'clock live, when Sturt take on Norwood in the Match of the Day. We hope you enjoy it. See you then, 2 o'clock. Bye for now.